And hello and welcome to YouTube as well. Welcome to everyone that is joining in on this amazing stream we got cooking for you over here. So take it away, Martin and Evan.
Nice. Thank you, Hannes. Yeah, I'm extremely pleased to announce that we have Evan Reese from the Onshape.com with us today. Hi, Evan, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, it's extremely fun to be here. I am excited to talk CAD. I'm excited to look at the marble machine and just like kind of get into it.
Awesome. Yeah, so we have a full list of topics prepared. Perhaps we can see those there. Yeah, and I think the talk today is going to be about how to use Onshape efficiently in different aspects. And Evan is working full-time with guiding and coaching teams on how to increase their productivity. And as you're probably aware of, I've been working on the same project for half my life, as my mother teased me in the last video. So I do really need to up my game with efficiency in CADing. And I get stuck on details. I love kind of grudge work, if that's a word. Like when I love repetitive tasks. So sometimes I'm too acceptant of repetitive tasks. And I know there's a lot of workflows that automates a lot. And I'm looking so much forward to everything you're going to teach me and the viewers today, Evan. Where do we want to start, though? Now, we had levels of rigor first, but I think that's not where we're going to start, right?
I mean, it's all good. We can do any of it. Do you want to just start with the identical patterns? I know that we just talked about this order, but it might be fine. I just slapped together this example because I think why it might be fun to start with is because it is kind of fun, but it's not super tightly connected to everything else we're talking about. So it's like we could kind of put it anywhere. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, brilliant. Let's go into that. Before that, I have a technical question for Hannes. Yeah. My screen looks super blurry and everything else is sharp. So I guess something is off with my screen, right? Or does it look good for you guys?
It looks really good for me. Yeah. So I think it's just your computer and connection.
Okay. As long as it looks good on stream, I'm happy.
Let's see. It looks kind of blurry on stream as well.
Yeah.
So let's switch over to Evan's for now.
Yeah.
See if we can get yours a little bit better.
Yeah. Probably we're going to stay on Evan's screen a lot today. Okay. So let's do a start and stop on the recording, and I can intro what led to this question from me to Evan.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So I run into a lot of times when I want to pattern a lot of parts that are nearly identical, Evan. So I had those arms for the vibraphone that I wanted like 37 arms that should feather out. And you have a suggestion for a possible workflow to achieve that.
Yeah. And it was a little while ago. I think I was watching the stream you did with Derek, and the question came up, and so it really got my gears turning on solving that problem. But it was a while ago, so I don't remember if this is even a demo of that exact issue, but it's a very simplified example of a way you can take advantage of patterns in Onshape that I think it takes a little bit to understand, but once you get it unlocks a lot of really cool workflows. So here's what I've got going on here. Each of these little arms is slightly different from the one before, but they all share the same basic DNA. So if I use Shift-I, I can isolate this, and we can see that they all have straight connections. They all go to the same size hole and all of that, and they're all parametrically connected to each other. So if I update this sketch, I can change what's going on here. Like I can change the shape of this pattern and make these follow along with this curve. So it's very easy to update my design. And you can see each arm is distinctly different. So
that looks
let me show
exactly like the thing I need. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can show you how I set this up. So first I set up, I like to set up variables for this kind of stuff. So I have a width variable, that's just the total, like, end to end length. And then I set up a number, a count. This is how many arms I have. So that if I update this to something smaller, like 10, this will also update. So I like, when I'm getting into a design, I think ahead about what levers I want to be able to pull later. And I go ahead and set those up as I'm going so that I have flexibility in all the places where I need it later.
Wait. That's a typical thing that I want you to repeat. So before you start to CAD something, you think about what levers you need at the end of the design process. And those are flexible. Okay.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I guess another way to say it is like design intent. So if I'm designing this, my design intent is not that this arm is exactly this shape. My design intent is that it meets at a pivot down here, meets at a pivot up here, goes to a straight pivot in the middle. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. I don't care about the millimeters because I can always change those. Okay. But I do care about setting up the relationships in the right way. Anyway, so one way to take those things that I know I might want to change later and pull them out and make them really easy to edit is to use a variable feature. So, for example, I'm just driving the width of this line with this variable, and that's it. And even though I've only used this variable, no, actually I do use it downstream, but even if I hadn't, it is nice to have it here because this is like big and obvious, and it just lets me know like this is a good place to edit things. So it makes the CAD more readable to your future self.
So even if you only going to use that value once, even then you like to have it in the feature tree as a variable.
Yeah, often. I mean, imagine you do this model and then you go do your whole life for a year and then you come back to the model. Like, if this is here, it's a lot easier to get yourself back up to speed on what the model, how it's set up.
Absolutely. And also, I'm going, sorry for interrupting you, but maybe this can hover as a ghost over our entire conversation. This week, I'm going to invite my audience to collab with me for the first time on Marble Machine 3 through Onshape.
Cool.
And of course, if I send CAD out with the measurements where you're suggesting to put them, it's going to be so much easier for other users to dive into that design instead of looking for the sketches as well. So I guess it would also be a good workflow to make collaborations faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be. And I guess just on the topic here, if you've created variables here, you get this fly out on the side. Yep. Here's those same variables. So it also kind of creates a parameter dashboard for you, if you will, where you can put every important dimension of the design here and not have to dig through the feature list to find where to change things.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That was not the point of the demo, though. The point of the demo is showing how to make these almost the same parts patterned in a way that's easy to update. So next, I just made a sketch that has these 3 lines that I was going to want to reference, and I extruded a surface like that, just so that I had one of the lines offset from the base. And then I lofted it, but actually on second thought, we don't even need this surface. This could be useful if we needed to have the shapes of the intermediate arms curved. But really, I just need the 3 curves in space right now because they're connected straight anyway. So not super important. But here's where the cool stuff is starting to happen. So I'm setting up one arm. That's all I'm modeling, and I've got it on a sketch here that is referencing those surfaces. So this you can see this constraint here. This means that I'm piercing this line. So that's this constraint, and Pierce will find a point on the sketch plane that is actually touching that line. So if I were to do that, out over here somewhere on like the right plane, then it would pierce there. So it's going to actually touch in 3D space. Did you have a question?
No, I just want to tell you that I never clicked the surface button in Onshape, so I'm new to this. I guess I'm used to use when you project sketches to other sketches, and Pierce is a version of that comes from the surface workflow. You don't have to go through surface workflow, but that's. But to do this, you would need to use the surfaces, I guess, just to get that Pierce thing.
Not necessarily. Let me show you. I'm just going to sketch here on the right plane, so I'm sketching right in the middle.
Yep.
And I can just show you with a point. So if I just drop a point somewhere out, it's just floating. If I want to make it touch this curved line, I can use Pierce, and you see how it drops down and hits right there.
Oh, so Pierce is also a sketch constraint. Okay, got it.
It's a sketch constraint, yeah. And if I have another point here, if I make it, it probably won't even let me make it. So I just used the I key for coincident, and you can see it's not actually touching it, and it's still free to slide up and down. So if I take this curve, which is planar, it's a flat curve, and I use like you were saying, it really is a line.
Yep.
And so that point has been constrained to fall on that line, but it's not touching it in 3D space. So Pierce is the one that's going to fully lock this point down, making sure that it is exactly on this curve.
Really cool. Got it.
Yeah. So that's what we have. And I've created just one arm. But where this gets cool is inside of linear pattern, we can do a feature pattern. So up here we have parts, features, and faces. And so I've chosen features, and crucially, I've hit reapply features. And so these are the features I'm patterning. I'm patterning this plane, I'm patterning the sketch that's on that plane, and I'm patterning the extrude. And honestly, I might not even need the plane. Let's see. Yeah, not required. But the sketch is going to rebuild every single time because I have reapply features. If I turn that off, you'll see that we do get that sketch patterning, but it doesn't change. It stays the same all the way across. And so what I really want is for that Pierce constraint to update and Pierce here and then Pierce there and so forth across.
Super cool.
So what it's doing is it's truly just rerunning the code for these features, but in a different spot over and over again.
Absolutely brilliant. That would kind of solve my whole thing. Can I put you on the spot and say that I also want the lower ends or the higher ends, which whenever you're choosing to be slightly different, you would then just use Pierce on another line and solve that the same way then, I guess?
Yeah, you could. So in what way might it be slightly different?
Yeah, let's curve that one. Let's curve that one too.
Okay, yeah. So to do that, I guess I would replace this with something curved. Here we'll go like that. I'm just using a spline, set that constraint to horizontal. And for now, that's going to be good enough. And then I just got to update the loft to replace that edge. Here, like that. And then I've got to update my sketch because it is still piercing this curve. And I want to change what it's piercing. So I'm to find that constraint, I'm going to turn on show constraints. And one thing that's really important to notice is that most of these constraints are gray when I'm here in the dark mode, or they're like light gray, but there's a few blue ones. Any blue constraint you see is referencing something outside of the sketch. So they're very important. So that I know that this one is going to be one of my external constraints. I can turn that off to clean up the view. So now this is free to move. And I can click that point, click this curve, Shift G to pierce, or click here. And we should be updated. Yeah.
Wow. My life goal, Hannes, is to use Shift G for pierce.
Yeah.
Seems obtainable. I believe in you,
Yeah.
Martin.
That's brilliant, Evan. It's so. And what we got then is, of course, a pattern, and then basically we can introduce a lot of complexities in all these parts using the same thing. As long as I can pattern the reference like you do with Pierce, we could do a lot of stuff. It seems like the exact fix I needed for the vibraphone arms.
Cool. Yeah, and it does not have to be that you're patterning a sketch. The important thing is that, like, here, actually, if I right click the studio, you can hit show code. This is the code that is this part studio.
Oh my God,
right?
the matrix.
It's the matrix, and it's not like all of this makes total sense to me. I mean, a lot of it's like this auto-generated stuff, but I say that to say, like, when you're doing this pattern and you recheck, like, reapply features, like when I click the pattern feature, it actually goes to that part of the code. It is truly like rerunning these code sections. Like, this code is running again, but in a different spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a sketch. It can be anything in your part studio can be patterned in this way.
So when you're not streaming with a peasant like me, you're just CADing in the code, I guess.
Some. I definitely write a bunch of custom features and things.
But are you serious that you go into the code and change stuff in the code there to the right?
No, this is view only.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It was mainly a joke, but I got it. All right, fantastic. I think is that a wrap up for the nearly identical, or do you have anything to add?
I think that's a good start. It goes deep, but that's a good start.
Fantastic, thank you. Just for some technical stuff, Hannes, I can't see Evan's screen and the whole stream, so you let me know if there's any issues. I just have Evan's screen full screen here so I can follow everything I'm learning.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop recording.
Yeah.
And I want to test your screen again and see if it's still horrendous or not.
Yeah, I switched off a couple of video streams on my end, so perhaps it's better.
It looks kind of bad still. So I think you will need to refresh that or reshare your screen.
Yeah, it's fine. It's mostly going to be Evan that shows. And also, Hannes, because of the way I set up the audio for this remote setup, I think we have all the audio going into the same channel. So if you are sure you're not going to speak, you can also stay on mute a little bit in Sonobus.
Yeah, I started doing that halfway through.
Perfect.
Yeah, I will keep my mouth shut. Got it.
It's so fun seeing you work in Onshape, Evan. I had to say, because I think you're friends with Derek as well, and I think like seeing you and Derek work in Onshape, it's really beautiful. I'm super inspired just seeing you navigate the menus. It's super fun.
Perfect. So what shall we move to now?
Yeah.
Are we getting to levels of rigor now?
Let's start the recording. Oh, it's already on. And let's bring up the list. And if you see any relatable questions from chat, Hannes, you can. But we're also going to do a little bit, see if there's time at the end to have some questions for Evan from chat.
I think it's better to collect them at the end.
Yeah.
Keep you guys talking now.
Okay, there's the list. I see it so small. Well, okay, Evan, your call. What do you want to go into?
I would love to. I think it's a good foundation to talk about levels of rigor. In previous videos, Martin, you've used the word seriousness. Like, this is not a serious model. I'm just figuring some stuff out, and that's exactly the concept. It's like you got to know what kind of model you're doing. Like, every model you do has some kind of job to accomplish in the world. And if you don't know what the job is, then it's not going to happen, or you'll overdo it or you'll underdo it, and either spend way too long on something that's not important and shouldn't have been taken that seriously, or you'll try to cut corners, and then you'll get yourself all tangled up in a really like unwieldy model that's hard to use. And so I have kind of some ways of thinking about that I think are extremely important, especially if you're collaborating, which I know you will be doing. And so the other thing is, everybody in the same model needs to be taking it with the same level of seriousness or rigor at the same time. So I have some slides that I can go through. I've given this talk at Onshape, like the headquarters in Boston, which was really a really fun thing to do. But I can share some of that. Let me just figure out the screen sharing bit here, though.
Yeah, just to let chat know what kind of streams we're dealing with here. We're dealing with people who go to Onshape and tell them how to do. That's fantastic. Yeah. So while you are screen sharing your slides, Evan, we can go to my screen, and I can just or maybe I should wait until it's ready.
The blurry.
I'm gonna share whole screen and then just try play from current slide. Are you seeing that?
Yep, that seems to work
coming up for
perfectly.
me here now, and I'll mute this one and put you guys back. There we are.
Beautiful. So let me just preface this a bit, Evan. That I always find myself having this exact problem. I start with an idea, I start CADing, and I'm like inspired, and I fly through it, and then all of a sudden the CAD becomes better than I thought it would be, but I just need to redo the whole thing. So I'm always starting over with a higher level of rigor. And then turns out 3 hours later, that level of rigor wasn't enough either. So I start from scratch. And and that's one problem. Then we have another even more evil problem, is that when you the level of rigor need changes over time. Like even if I do, so I'm really interested to hear what you're saying, but with your method, I'm also very curious to see how can we know ahead of time what level of rigor we would need? Do you see what I mean? It's like scope creeping. That's enough of me. But this is a problem that I had my whole CADing career, if I can call it that. So
sure. Yeah, it is it's an important concept, and honestly, you can zoom out and apply it to a lot more than just CAD. But this is kind of a very CAD specific take on it. So I want to start off by just defining rigor for the purpose of this conversation. And I would say that there are 3 things that make a really good CAD model. And if you measure each of these things on some kind of spectrum, you can tell if the model is good or not good, or if it's rigorous or not rigorous. There's really just 3. I can't think of anything else. So the first is robustness, how well it updates. You saw that I pulled out those parameters when I was doing the demo earlier and made sure that when I update them, everything rebuilds in a predictable way. And that means that model is pretty robust. I could add more arms and it would work, or I could tweak the path of the different hinges would follow and it would work. It's a stable model, easy to change, and is parameterized in all the ways that matter to me. So if you wanted that top set of hinges to also be curvable, it's set up to do that. The other thing I think that is really important on a good CAD model, this is the kind of CAD model you're going to live with for a long time, is navigability. And your ability, somebody else's ability to get in and find what they need, know what changes what, how to actually use the model, essentially. So this is sort of like the CAD version of a well-documented code base, or you're commenting the code and all of that, using good practices just to make it easier for humans to use. So this may have nothing to do with how well the model regenerates or how fast it is or anything like that. This is for humans, navigability. So it's simple stuff like naming features and putting them in folders. And sometimes it's simple stuff like that. Sometimes it's, I've done projects that are very complex, and I will record a video tour of the model saying, just if you're here and you need to make some changes, this changes that changes this. And you can put a link in Onshape to the video. So you can take it to a pretty extreme level. And I think the bigger the project is, the more people that are involved, the more complicated the level of all of the relationships required to get that robustness, the more, the higher you can take that level of communication. And then the last thing is lightweightness. So, CAD is code, like we saw earlier, and it takes an amount of time to run. And so you can get to the same result, and there's a lot of different paths to do that. So some of them might take 1 second of regeneration time, and other ones might take a minute of regeneration time. And it's always better to figure that stuff out. If this is like your long-term model, you're going to live with this CAD for a long time, and you don't want to have to like twiddle your thumbs for 30 seconds every time you click something. So if you pay attention, all of these little good habits add up to a model that's pretty quick. So like somebody right out of school might look like this. You're just low on all categories, even if they have all the time in the world to do it. And then as you get better and better and you put in more hours, then your skill starts to look like this. And like you get more robustness essentially for free. Like this is how you can tell if somebody's really good at CAD, is like they get more rigor for free, pretty much, right? It doesn't cost anything. You're getting it done in the same amount of time or less time, and the model's just better. But this is where the speed rigor thing comes in, because eventually you hit a point of diminishing returns with, increasing skill just doesn't make you that much faster. It levels off. Not completely. Like the ceiling, I haven't hit the ceiling. I don't know anybody who's hit the ceiling. And the ceiling in Onshape is very high. I think they've done a really good job of having a low floor, easy to get into, but the ceiling of complete mastery is super high. But even still, at some point, if you just need to get a model done and go fast, then it's better to trade off some of those things. And you do it on purpose, do it consciously, so that you can move a little bit faster. And this is the parallel to software development. They use the term technical debt. So it's like you know that you are incurring a price that you may have to pay back later, but it's worth it to move faster today. So it's like, it is kind of like, I like that analogy, because debt, when used correctly in a business or even to buy a home or whatever it is, can help you get more done with less upfront investment. But if you use it wrong, you can really, really ruin yourself. So, so you can make these trade-offs, and there's a tension between the robustness.
Hang on, Evan.
Yeah.
Evan, I think we have some robotic sounds, right? At your side as well, Hannes?
No, not on my side.
Okay.
It's good here.
Testing.
See how I'm doing.
Chat is
Hang
not
on.
complaining, so.
Okay, sorry, Evan. That was
All
perfect.
right.
I realized I have to...
Are you on the Wi-Fi?
That was exactly what I was going into. I have to go and ask my family to get off the Wi-Fi. Hold it there, Evan. I don't know what
All
you're
right, we're holding.
now.
The daughter is growing up fast, already on the internet.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I love it when you do that speed test and it's like, you should be able to support multiple devices streaming very easily. I'm like, well, it's not working.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to tell you. Yeah.
So far, so good. Not that many technical difficulties.
Yeah,
Just on
yeah.
Martin's end. He needs to reboot his screen share if he wants to show anything on his screen. But
Yeah.
yours is looking crisp and fine.
Excellent.
And everyone is saying that it sounds good and it's looking crisp. So we're off to
Excellent.
a flying start here.
Awesome. Well, I fully expect to crash Chrome at some point, but
Yep.
we'll see. It's been happening lately.
There he is. There
All
we
right,
are.
Evan.
Have you given them the lecture?
Yeah, I didn't hear any shouting. I think it sounded pretty tame. I think that's good.
Okay, I have good audio on Evan now. That's
Okay.
promising, and no one. I'm connected with a cable. All right. So, sorry, everyone, for interrupting there. Please, and just one question, Evan. You said technical depth with a B, not depth as in deep, right?
Debt. Yes,
Or
yeah.
is it-
Debt. Like if you borrow money and then you don't pay it back,
Yeah,
you're in
okay.
trouble. But if you borrow money and then you buy a house and then it appreciates, great. Now you can have more money.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
yeah, that kind of thing. So here's another way to kind of think of it. Is on the one side we have speed and on the other side we have rigor. And if we assume a fixed level of skill, like you can always get more rigor by just getting better at CAD. And I highly encourage you to do that. There's a lot of juice to squeeze there. But let's assume you don't have time. It's like you have to make a decision today based on how good you are at CAD right now. And everybody is somewhere here on a continuum of how rigorous you're going to be, how much effort you're going to put into robustness, navigability, and lightweightness of the model? Or are you just trying to get something out the door? So you might live, some people live over here all the time on the rigor side, and their models are like unassailably clean, so nice. This is the kind of models that you see tutorials about usually. They're a joy to edit, but they take so long to do. And so you have these other people at the other end, and sometimes people will hang out down here, and this is like, where it's like cowboy cat, and you're just like, get out there and just ask questions later kind of a thing. And they both have a strength, right? Like this is awesome for your forever CAD model, and this is it's great to be on a team with someone like this. But if you're early and you don't even know what you're building yet, and you need to like test 20 things out, like the person over here on the speed side is going to run circles around that high rigor CAD modeling person. And so a lot of people kind of feel that, if you swing hard one way, you start to feel bad that you're not fast. And if you swing hard the other way, you start to feel bad that your CAD is so like ugly. And so a lot of people kind of like pendulum swing to the middle, but it really just kind of guarantees you make both mistakes at once, or, in equal proportion. And the real thing that has to happen is you got to move around on this spectrum in a conscious way. So first of all, use the whole thing. Some of your models should be even worse than your worst model is right now, and some of your models should be way better than your best model right now. I think that people hang out in the middle third too much, and so that's one. And then the other thing is you have to have some concept like this if you're working with other people, because the person at the high rigor side isn't necessarily wrong, and the person at the high speed side isn't necessarily wrong. But if you're both on the same team together and you're not talking about it, you guys are going to definitely frustrate each other. And so it's really important to have a way to make sure that everybody in the project is at the same place at the same time on this continuum. And so in order to do that, I used to I co-founded an agency that did high-tech product design and development. And so we had a team, and this was a concept that we kind of infused into the culture there. And it found it really helpful to just take this, infinitely precise spectrum. It's a gradient, really, but we just split it into 3 sections and just gave it names so that we could talk about it. So level 1 to me is high speed, and the way that I would differentiate it from something like a level 2 level of rigor is level 1 is just for me. This is like, nobody should care what that model looks like. It's my model, and I'm just answering a question I have for myself. Like, I might as well be using Play-Doh or duct tape or drawing on a napkin or whatever. It doesn't matter. I just happen to be using Onshape, which is the same thing we use for our nice production models, but it really doesn't matter what tool. It's like, I'm just answering my questions. And then at something like a level 2, you might be still trying to de-risk some part of a project. So Martin, in your case, maybe you have a different mechanism and you have 5 ideas for that mechanism, and you wanted to get them all fleshed out to a more like representative level, I guess, of fidelity, so that you're not going to run into like a tolerance stack issue or whatever it is that your existential risk is for that concept. And so you might do that here in a little bit of a nicer, you might spend more time here doing a bit of a nicer model, but that when you're done with it, that model's job is not to go into the final design. That model's job is to answer your questions, de-risk the project to an adequate level of satisfaction for you. And, like everybody who's contributing to the project is like, that's believable. I like it. And that's kind of the level you're looking for here.
There. Mm-hmm. I have a question there, and I love this slide. I screenshotted it because it's super helpful. This slide here. But you said that the level 2 ideate model, you said that model is not going into the execute. Do you think that models live and stay within their own bands here? or do you think that most often for level 3 we kind of start over, or do we like transform a level 2 model into a level 3 by cleaning it up?
That's a really excellent question. I'll say it this way. There's not a super clean answer, but a mistake that I see more often than not is people not admitting to themselves that the level 2 model isn't the final model, and then trying to refactor their way into a really clean level 3 model. When they do have fairly distinctly different jobs to do in the world. So each model that you're making has some kind of purpose, and it's hard to make a model that fulfills all possible purposes. Like, I'm going to explore a bunch of ideas, and I'm going to like try 10 variations of it and de-risk a mechanism or 3 mechanisms, and it's my production model. It's a lot to ask of one model. So you can sometimes, depending, it's situational, but I think maybe if I were to propose a default stance, it would be to not expect your level 2 model to become your production model. And what you can do when you admit that to yourself is you get more freedom to work in ways that you don't want to work in that level 3 model. Like you can use less rigor, because once that model has accomplished its mission, it has a job to do. Once it's done that job, you can retire it and you don't have to pay back the technical debt. But if you want to convert it to a level 3, then you have to pay back the technical debt by getting in and cleaning things up and remodeling certain areas and refactoring it. And even if you do, there will probably still always be little vestiges of the suboptimal modeling practices you used. And it's kind of a dress rehearsal. Like you learn what you do like and don't like about that approach that you took, so that your level 3 model can be even cleaner. But in the end, it is case by case, and kind of the question to ask yourself is like, how long am I going to have to live with the consequences of the choices I make right now? And if the answer is like years and years, then it might be worth just rebuilding it.
Yeah. All right. I think I was surprised by that answer. I actually said, I thought you were going to go the other way with that answer. It's a great thing. And I think in my case, especially, if I can get help like from the audience, I could even have help from people who love the rigor part of something. So we have already, we have a complete set of parts here. We have 10 parts, and they should actually be exactly this shape. Like, then there are people who love to just reach that shape in a much better way, and that makes sense then to have the models separate. But I am getting a little bit of audio latency on you, Evan. I'm thinking it might be worth, since we're in the beginning of the stream, it might be worth to just check over some. And this is on us. I forgot to check some Sonobus settings on your side. So I think we can troubleshoot this right now. Yeah, so if we just go to some other screen, Hannes, I don't know if you show my fantastic setup here.
Yeah, look at that blanket behind you.
If you click the gear in the top left, Evan,
I'll stop the recording.
There's an options. You have 3 tabs. You have audio and you have options.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you have a sound quality. I'm thinking you might be high there.
I'm at 96.
Okay, that's correct. And your default jitter buffer, is that on auto? It's just below there.
Yeah,
okay,
it's on auto.
That looks good. What can we do then, Hannes? I'm getting some dropouts here. I don't know if chat is hearing it too.
I mean, chat are happy. It sounds great and it looks good.
Okay. Perhaps it's me being in the middle of Sweden forest
here. Could be on your end,
sadly.
I don't hear any significant dropouts on Evan on my end.
No, that's good, Evan. This is on me. Then I'll try something. I'll try to reset the latency here. Reset dropped. I'm going to try to do a manual buffer and just drag it down to mine and Hannes level here. Huh.
Yeah, this can happen when we're 3 people tuning in remotely
Yeah.
to
this
one
soft-
sad PC in Stockholm.
This software is amazing, but sometimes it's a little bit too much hands-on. Do I hear you nicely now, Evan?
Do you hear me nicely now, Martin?
I do.
Okay.
So sorry for this. I might revisit this. It's a new issue here, but I think this might be a better setting for my side. All right, let's get back.
You can reshare your screen, Evan, please.
Well, honestly, that's the last slide. So I think that was perfect. But yeah, that's the general concept is to think of it in multiple levels, to get super clear about what job the model you're doing right now has to accomplish in the world, and what is the least work you can do to accomplish that job, if you know that you're not necessarily married to the fact of that model being your forever model.
Fantastic. I'll try to share my screen, Hannes, because I have a question about your second navigable thing.
Could you reboot your browser then, Martin? The Ninja browser, and reshare the screen then. Let's see if it's better then.
Okay. So you guys hold the fort.
I hold the fort with a wonderful image of Evan in full screen.
Fantastic.
Just me awkwardly smiling.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Thanks for bearing with us, Evan, when we're on our remote setup here. It's a whole ordeal over here.
It is, but on the flip side, it's also kind of a miracle that we're talking to each other. So
yeah. And this is only good for the project. Martin getting some fresh air, getting out of his basement. So we can look at it that way as well.
Into someone else's basement, or
right in the middle of a forest in the middle of Sweden. He's living his best life right now.
That sounds pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm back in the room. I see Evan, perfect. I'm going to share my screen because I do have a couple of questions about the navigable part.
Okay, let's see.
It looks high quality to me.
Fingers crossed. It looks better now.
Good.
There we go.
Okay, thanks everyone for bearing with us. Super cool, Evan. I love that framework. I'm going to completely. Actually, tonight, I'm writing like a specification for the collaboration project I'm starting on Thursday. And I'm actually going to use your slide with your permission about the level of rigor, because this is firmly in the explore category. So, and just a point that you're saying that to communicate about the level of rigor, only that basic habit is going to save a lot of time and annoyance. You said navigable. As one of the 3, you had robust, you have navigable, and you had lightweight.
Yeah.
The robust I've been working on and kind of understand a little bit about that. That was the same in Fusion 360. So I understand that. The lightweight, I haven't started at all understanding really. I know that a lot of circular patterns drives Onshape crazy. So I know sometimes where that goes wrong. But the navigable, I feel this document that I'm going to share on Thursday is horrible when it comes to navigability. Me, myself, who created it, I don't know where the files are. So what I want to ask you is that I think there's 2 main sides. It's the feature tree to the left in each part studio. But then you have the folder structure as well in the bottom.
Yeah.
And I guess the navigability is on both those. It's nice if we have the features. I think in the master part model, we did a really good job on the navigability because I put all the features in folders here.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
that's great.
If you get in here, I have everything in the frame here. I have the plane where the skeleton sketch sits. I have the sketch, I have the extrude, and I have the mirror. And I have it in a folder. So I think here, in this particular part studio, I did a great job with navigability of the feature tree. But then I didn't do it on the folders. Is there other places in my model where I need to improve the navigability, or is it mainly these two?
Well, if you're, you can use comments heavily if you're going to have people in, and you have this is especially here in the master. There might be some unintuitive relationships that are set up that are going to drive the whole design. Like if you change the diameter of your programming wheel, what happens? Does anything else get impacted by that? And that's the kind of thing that you can try to make pretty clear and explicit using comments in Onshape, which you can even annotate and screenshot. You could put a link to a video that you've recorded showing what controls what. You can even, I think in the most recent update, you can comment directly on a sketch dimension. So if you wanted to say like, when you edit this, it impacts these things and the changes cascade down in this way, like that is navigability as well.
Interesting. Can you teach me how? I've never done a comment.
Yeah. So if you right click any object that you want to talk about, like a face or a vertex or anything, you can see add comment down there, about 2/3 of the way down.
2/3 of the way down. I get blind when I have some. I try. There we go.
I would love to see more icons on this menu. Do that.
Comment.
Great. So now you can type a comment, whatever you want. You can also @mention people like by their email. If they're shared into this, they'll get notified, and when they in the email, they'll get a link that'll take them exactly to this model in this state and it'll highlight that face for them and be like, this is the thing we're talking about, which is super helpful.
That's fantastic. So I can't change row here. I'll just add another comment if I want another row. Then is that you have like 10 comments because I try to option click, or if I enter without the option click. Okay. Link to video here.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you can also attach images, and you see kind of bottom right. Yeah, there's, if you go left one more, you can mark up. So click that.
Can I?
So now you can screenshot and annotate the model itself. So you could say like, I'm moving these faces need to move outward. You can use it to communicate about the design. As well, which is a good way to go. So if you're doing some kind of design review with people, use the comments. You don't need to take notes in a separate place. Take notes on the model about all the changes that need to happen and who's going to do them, and all of that stuff. Like document the meeting here.
Wait, if I let me see. Just okay. This is super cool. Oh, sorry. I can do this. And how do I get out of this? I'll click that one.
Yep. So now that is attached.
That lives here. Markup.
Yep.
.jpg. How can I see that again?
So if you hit add and just complete the comment, then you can see what it looks like after. There you go.
Okay, fantastic. So I can view in full size. This is great.
Yeah, so for collaborating with a lot of people, especially in different time zones and that kind of thing, this is a really nice way to just help people get around the model. And it is useful for live, reviewing and that kind of thing, but I also like to use it as a way to just leave explanations of the way that it's parameterized and like how the model is set up, what controls what.
And now I get a preview on the base blob here that tells me it disappeared.
Yeah,
there was a little comment icon here.
It only shows up when that comment flyout is open, which is over on the far left side. Up one more from there.
Of course, that one.
Yeah. So if you open that, it shows back up again.
Okay, got it.
And you can comment not only on the model, you could comment on a feature in the feature list, or something like that. That's totally good.
Try that so I can learn. I'm going to comment on this revolve. I'll right click, I'll add a comment, and make sure it's blah blah blah.
Yeah, okay. And you can see there's a little tag icon that says revolve 22.
Yeah,
that's telling us what the comment is connected to. So you could also start a comment just from here, like a new comment, and then tag something as you're going. That's fine too.
Wait, from here, a new comment.
Yeah, I think up next to that bell icon, you should be able to make a new comment.
Add
there we
comment.
go. Yeah, and so next to where you clicked that markup, there's a tag icon.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll tag it to the conveyor belt.
Yeah,
face.
exactly. So you can do it that way too. Yeah.
Okay, that's
quick question for Evan here. Handry wants to know here: does it share the entire model by default when you tag someone in the comments?
It will. It shouldn't. No, it's not going to impact share settings. So if you've commented and someone doesn't have access, they still will not have access.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So just perhaps it's a topic later that we should add, like your general, like in front of my launching the first test collaboration on Thursday, like that's actually a later subject, because I think, for example, it's very tempting to have one model and let everyone comment on it in Onshape, but I think that would fall, that would be bogged down too fast. So I'm just I'm just getting used to that this is a thing in the software. Super nice that you showed me. Okay, so we have navigability of the feature tree to the left. Okay, so actually then, second question. I haven't found a great way when I'm in an assembly to switch between my part studios. So when I'm in the master assembly, I found the super nice way to right-click something, and then I can switch to, and then I get immediately to that part studio. But the other way around. So so let's switch to that. I'll switch to the prog structure curved here. I would love. Can I go? Is there a similar shortcut to all the assemblies that this part studio is part of?
There is a where used tool, but it's not going to be. I don't think it's exactly what you're asking about. But we could, if you wanted to, we can open and see what that looks like here. It's on the far left side where those other icons are. If you remember where the comment one, it's 2 down from that. There you go.
Where used.
Yeah, but I think it's going to rely on things being released and versioned and all of that. So it's a little more limited, I think, than I would like it to be.
We have nothing. It doesn't find anything now.
Yeah.
So do I have to search to get
right click on a part? So you could right click on one of the parts from down here. If you right click it, you should get a menu that has that icon on it.
Where used for quarter is not supported.
Oh, for workspaces. Yeah, so that's one of the limits, is it needs to be, you need to be looking at a version. This is really useful, and I think it's designed primarily for designs that have already gone through a release process. And so they're you're tracking at the top level assembly, all of the parts in there have already been released and approved. And in that case, it's really easy to go and you can find everywhere that part's been used.
Okay.
So that's one thing that's kind of close, but it's not exactly what you're asking about. I think maybe if you're looking for an easy way to get back, you just remember we're in a browser and you can just use the back button or open multiple tabs. If I need to work on a design and I'm jumping between 3 different Part Studio tabs or an assembly and some Part Studios, I'll just open all 3 tabs in my browser.
Okay, that's a great idea, actually. And then I have my tabs hidden because we're streaming, so I don't have. I always like on the bottom of these tabs instead. What about like tab organization within the software here? I know there's a tab manager that I haven't found to be. I haven't gotten into the habit of using that a lot. Or do you have like? I just think there's a lot of. I don't know, maybe I should just move out all my old part studios to some kind of archive folder so I don't see them down here and just keep the things but then I'm constantly moving part studios around in the tab structure, which is also time consuming. Do you have any tips for me to get like the tabs cleaner so I can actually navigate using those?
Yes, but just really quick on the topic of Chrome tabs. Even when you have your tabs hidden, like you do, I tend to work that way as well. You can still use the hotkeys to get around to the different tabs, so you can still switch between them without having to.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing for my design requirements here. So you're right. Yeah. If I so actually I should have the master. The master model here. Next one should be the final model, final assembly, and then the 3 ones that I'm working on.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a great way. I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah, but with regard to these folders, I guess my first question is, what level do you think this model is at? Like, what level of rigor?
I think
what is it trying to be?
I think it's on Explore actually.
It's
cosplaying as ideate.
Well,
because Derek is teaching me how to build a CAD better. But I think it's on. Okay, 1 or 2 then.
Yeah, I would say if you're collaborating, you're probably not in 1.
Okay.
Yeah. At least according to I made up the definition, so according to me, you're not.
Okay.
So it's kind of up to you. I mean, at some point in this project, and this gets into, I guess, the model planning and strategy piece. But at some point, the Marble Machine needs to be a very multi-document thing. Right now, I think everything is just here in this one document, which is nice because you can relate things to the active workspace. When it is in a different document, you can only bring in things from there if they are versioned. So then if you need to make a change in document B and update it here, you've got to go there, make the change version, update it here. And then, actually, I had a typo and I got to go do it in version again and update it here. So there's a little bit more friction that it adds, but it does improve your, it reduces the number of things in this one document, which is good for performance. Even having 100 tabs in here, even ones that aren't doing that much, can bog down this document. And then there's just less things to search through, so it's more navigable in that way.
You mean even the tabs that don't have open is bogging down the tab I'm working on?
Yeah, eventually it will bog things down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, if you open, there's on the left icon bar again, third from the bottom, there's a performance tab, and it tells you how many tabs you have in this document. 71, 59 of them are Part Studios. So it's there to help you keep track. I think that the official Onshape rule of thumb is like 40 or 45, something like that, is a good time to start thinking about splitting it out. I think it depends a lot on what is happening in those tabs, but it is worth noting that you get better performance. Like the whole document is assigned an amount of compute, and it doesn't matter if you're in 10 branches in that document or 100 different tabs. The document itself is the unit of compute allocation, and so if you want double the compute, you can just do 2 documents, and you get more power. Yeah. So,
and if I delete a Part Studio, you can always go back version history. But is deleting a Part Studio releasing that compute load? Because it still remembers it to go back, so it's not lingering even if I delete it or.
No, it shouldn't be. Yeah,
okay.
it should clean them. Or you can move them out. Like you were talking about wanting to get rid of a bunch of tabs, and I would encourage you to do that for both reasons. It'll speed everything up a little bit. You're probably not running into big performance challenges yet, but when you're doing your level 3 model, that's something that's going to become worth paying attention to as you go, because otherwise you end up late in the project and everything's slow and it takes a ton to refactor it then. So it's better to just kind of proceed with the right habits. But anyway, you can move all those tabs to a different document that you just call archive, and you can go get them there if you want.
Yeah, so what I'm getting inspiration here now, Evan, I have before I share this model, I should do a complete spring cleaning. I have a lot of obsolete, here's some folder with nothing in. I can clean this up, but you said I can move the Part Studios. Did you have like version history as one of your suggested topics?
We can. Let's do it.
Because I think this
topic.
leads in, and I feel very insecure about that. And they're trying to teach us. So level of rigor. Let's just wrap up level of rigor. So, let me repeat what I learned from you, Evan. Number 1, you should discuss with your collaborators about what level of rigor we're aiming for, and we can divide it simply into 3 levels, which was like explore, and then ideate, and then execute.
Right.
And then we can go faster if we're deliberate about it by sacrificing some level of rigor, as long as we know what we're doing. And if we have a level 2 model, more often than not, it's actually better to rebuild it with rigor as focal point for the execution step, rather than trying to transform something messy into something clean. And then you also see level of rigor in 3 aspects. It's navigability. No, it's was something else first. Robustness. If the CAD is parametric and can update easily. Navigability, how we can navigate, and then lightweight. And what I realized now when we're talking is that the navigability and the lightweight plays into each other. If I clean this up, the lightweightness is going to become better as well. So fantastic information regarding level of rigor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Perfect. So let's do a start and stop, Hannes, and let's move into, if it's okay with you, Evan, because you can actually guide me through, and I'll make a new version of this document under your steady hand, because this is the part of the project that I feel really insecure about.
So are we moving towards model planning now?
We improvise another topic, actually.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Then you just have to give me 1 second, guys.
Oh, you're going to add it.
I'm going to add it.
I don't see the screen.
I love it.
Please go and add it.
So what's the topic?
It's
version graph.
Version graph.
Maybe branches? Are we talking about branches too?
Oh,
Branching and merging are at the end.
Oh, okay, that's at the end. That's kind of the same topic, I think.
okay. Mainly what I want to get to now, Evan, is to make a new version that I can clean up and then share that latest version on Thursday.
Okay.
Awesome. Keep going, guys. You're doing great.
Okay, thank you, Hannes.
Thank you.
Okay, Evan, I know there's versions, but I don't understand how they work, and I guess I should save a bit more often. So how do I make a new version here now?
Yeah. Well, you don't have to save with any regularity. Everything's saved, all the time in Onshape. You can't crash it and lose work, which is amazing. The versions are for you to just put a bookmark. Like if you look under where it says main and it says show changes, expand that for me.
Yep.
So that we can see what that looks like. See this just like river of actions. Each one of these things is something that we did that's been done in the model. Every little change that you make, you edit a sketch, you add a feature, you change the color, you hide an object, you undo a thing you did before, all of that's here recorded. Yep. And you can click any of these and go see what the model looked like at that point in time, all the way back to the very beginning. So you don't have to save per se. What a version will do for you is essentially put a bookmark in this giant river of otherwise not very important things that happened, and lets you find it easy again later. So you kind of think of it as like the history is there either way, immutable. It's recorded automatically. You can't not record it. It's there. And a version is just a way to mark and say this moment mattered. So it's good. And then of course the other thing that a version is for is if you need to link to a different document, you can only link to a version, not to the main active workspace that's changing all the time. So anyway, all that to say is if you're about to do something drastic like a total cleanup, maybe you do want to make a version that's like pre-cleanup. And then if you start doing all your cleanup and you're like, this was a mistake, then you can just right-click that version and restore it to main.
Yeah. So it feels like I'm ready to create a version here today.
Do it. Yeah.
And V4 is before cleanup. Evan stream. I'm just putting a time. It's just, I remember then. So we're gonna do create. We have Derek in the versions here. Now we also have Evan. I want to collect them all here.
Nice.
Wait. Is it? Oh, it's creating. It's taking some time. Okay. So the current one is always called main. That's per default.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is it main branch? Maybe that's not version.
Yeah, so a little bit on the semantics here. If you look on the left side of this graph, you see like a line with dots on it. The white dot is what is called a workspace, and that is where you can actually edit the model. You can make changes. That's where it's actually recording the history. And then each of the dark dots is a version, and those are unchangeable. You cannot edit them. And if you made a branch creates an alternate workspace. So you can have multiple branches where work can be happening, and then you can merge them together to get those changes blended together.
Okay, let's see if we get there. I'm scared of that, but let's see.
I might suggest actually doing all of our cleanup in a branch, and then we can merge it.
Oof. Should I try it now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think so.
Because you also said something. You said move your archived part studios to another document. I actually don't know how to do that. This is stuff I can Google, so perhaps I shouldn't pick your brain about that. But let's first then create a branch together.
Okay, let's do it.
So where do I do that?
So if you right-click V4 that you just created, you can branch from a version. That's another reason you might want to create a version. There you go. Yep.
So I don't branch from the workspace because
correct.
When I right-click the workspace, we have a completely different menu here. I'm sorry, I can't zoom in on this on this computer, so it's a little bit small for the. Or wait, let me try something here. Oh yeah, I can. So I don't see the stream, but I think this is a little bit better for the viewers, right?
Yeah, it's zooming in.
Yeah. All right. So if I right-click on the workspace, we only have a few options. But if I right-click on a version, we have this branch to create workspace. So let's click that and cleaning up branch.
Sure.
That was your idea? Cleaning up branch. Okay, I have two options here. I have create and create workspace and edit properties.
Create's all we need.
Great. Creating workspace. Okay,
cool.
We get a little yellow branch here now.
Yep. So we're now in that branch, and any changes we make here don't affect the main model yet until we merge.
Yeah. So then it's a huge discussion. We're not going to go in that, but when I'm collaborating, should I do then 20 branches in my document for all the collaborators, or are they going to work completely on their own? That's probably depending on where in the level of rigor we are. If we're on level 1, probably everyone on their own. But let's not go in there now. Okay, so we have a branch. We have a workspace, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in that workspace. So if I start to throw away, I saw over here, I saw that I had some folders that I don't need. I have these folders that I think were completely empty.
Yeah. So just start taking it apart.
Deleting them.
Unpack. If it's empty, it'll just disappear.
Yeah.
But this is where I would probably use the what is it called? The
tab
folder
manager.
Tab manager. That one's far left.
Let's go to the tab manager.
There we go.
And I have to zoom out a little bit to see something. So, yeah, those were like obvious. I have to clean more. I think some of these names are not good, and I have some. There's a drum folder inside the drum folder, for example. That doesn't feel correct, really.
If you just right-click that and hit unpack, it'll just put them all in the top level.
I mean, instruments. There's just... I need to go and do it a little bit. I need to go and look at it a little bit. Let's just do something more. Okay, let's unpack this. Unpack. Okay. Okay, let's pretend I've done all my spring cleaning now. We go back to the... No, not create version. We go back to the versions and history. And now we can show the changes. I unpacked the drums. I've deleted 2 folders. Super nice. Oh, and that's also like versions here, yeah.
Yeah, so you can click and view any of those. And if you're like, ooh, I should have put a version there, you can click one of those and create a version at that spot.
Create version here. Cool. Okay. I don't want to keep this cleaning branch now, or I'm super happy with the changes. I want to merge this with the main workspace.
Yeah, great. So just you just need to activate main, like go click main. Yep. So you always merge into the branch you're in from somewhere else. So now you can right click your branch, the workspace for the branch, the cleanup branch.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And then merge into, there you go.
Let's try that. See if I have, okay.
Cool.
Here we have a lot of
You do have a lot of options, but most of these options, in my opinion, are here to give you some more flexibility if you have made a mistake, which you haven't done. So by default, the effect that we will get from merging this branch is just cancel for a second, and I just want to talk about.
Okay.
So you have those 3 actions. You have unpack folder, unpack drums. Those are the changes that you made. If you imagine like every workspace has its own list of history, a list of actions.
Yep.
So I have, let's say, main branch here, and I have my cleanup branch here, and these are both lists of actions. If I'm merging my cleanup branch into main, I just take these actions and just put them right on top of the other list. And so if I had done something that conflicted, like let's say in the main branch I turned a part purple, and then in my other branch I turned it green, like the effect would be the same as if like I turned the part purple and then turned it green.
Okay.
It'll stay green. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's all that we're really going to get here. And it's what's so good about this is like in other CAD systems, you want to go do an experiment, you like save as, and then you got 30 save as is somewhere, and some of them have changes you like, and other ones have other changes you like, and there's no way to get them back together again. But with Onshape, you can just branch, do whatever you want, and then get it all back together again.
Okay, hang on. I have a question about that, because I have been ideating different programming wheels designs, and then I had like 3 part studios here, which are like variations on this design. So I had this curve base metal plate, and then I have this grid system. No, that was wrong. Here it is. It's hiding. So it's like 2 designs of one part. We're not going to have both designs in the end. We're only going to have one of them. Would you do them in branches, or because now I've duplicated the part studio and instead?
I think if I'm operating at a level 1, I would do what you're doing here. I would duplicate the tab and just go, because I really don't need to get it back together again.
Okay.
You know, once I've answered my questions for myself, is this the path that I want to proceed with, or even is this a pretty believable concept that I want to invest more time into? Like, that's the question.
Yeah.
So once that question's answered, then you probably do move on to level 2 or 3 or whatever it is, and you might build it again now that you have so much clarity on what you're actually making. So anyway, for a level 1, maybe level 2, I would do it this way, because you really don't need them to be related. But then if you're in like a production CAD model and you need to solve a problem in the design, and there's a couple ways you might try, that's perfect for branching. So make 2 different branches, try one idea in one branch, one idea in another branch, and then decide which one you keep.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Should we merge this?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so right click B1, merge into main.
I'm in main already. Yeah, it's
that's
highlighted.
Right.
Merge into current workspace, and here I have 2 options. I can keep main. Am I then disregarding the whole cleaning up branch if I choose this option here.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And normally, if you're merging, like if you had done some changes in main, you would actually see 3 options here. And one is like keep main, one is like merge the changes, and the other is replace with the branch. But by default, if you it's always going to do the one that merges both changes. And so if you don't touch anything, like if you pick something other than what you get by default, then one of the branches will lose some of its work essentially. But if you just do it the default, it didn't used to have this menu. It used to just do it by this default method all the time.
Okay. So actually with merge, everything isn't saved, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, so now it's back together. If you go, you're in main still, and you can see that those folders that you unpacked are unpacked.
Yes. So, but we'll always see this in the history. Okay. So we can even go back to that.
Yeah, you can go back and keep working in the branch, and then merge it again when you are ready.
Thank you so much for showing me this. I feel less scared now.
It's not so scary. No, I intend to record a video and put it out that just kind of demystifies it, because it is intimidating, especially, you think you're dealing with all of the work for the whole project, and if you mess up, it's all going to be gone, and that's not true.
Yeah.
But it is important to understand what you're doing with it, so you can use it to its fullest. I'm working with some teams where they are having 10 people collaborating on the same design across multiple documents, and so each person has a branch that they're working in. The main workspace is actually locked, so you don't make any edits there ever. And then each person will do their work and create a version and request a review from their manager before they merge. And then they merge it into main, and then they go back to their branch, and they will actually merge main back into their branch, because other people have been merging to main, so they want to pull all the latest changes. And then they only ever work in their branch. Each person's in one branch, and they're always like merging back and forth. Is just a way to kind of keep it all partitioned, get it reviewed before it gets merged into the main design and all that.
I can absolutely see a future where the Marble Machine CAD is on level 3, where we're not having the whole machine in one document, but for example, we might have the drivetrain in one document, or a part of the drivetrain, and in that document, letting people who wants to help in their own branches, and I am the only one who have the admin to be able to merge it into main, makes a lot of sense, because then then it wouldn't be like this. We have to manually go and check, and with a lot of files, and everyone would be working in the same file. It would be really, really, really cool.
Yeah, and I think for what you just described, you might run into some limitations of the permission schemes that are available right now.
Okay.
I would love to see more granularity there. Like, I would like to see per workspace permissions, where you can say, like, this person is only able to make edits in this branch. That's not currently possible.
Awesome, Evan. Let's move forward. This was fantastic. So let's take a breather and check the topic list.
Cool.
Boom, boom, boom. And the recording. And yes, next up is are we now moving to model planning?
We can, yeah.
Is that good?
What else is on there? Let me look at this here.
Model planning. We have feature script. And then the sheet metal model.
Oh, I feel for that one.
Let's go. Let's do it.
We can jump everywhere.
Can we do it, Evan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's start the recording, and
yep.
And let me intro this. If there's no quick questions from chat or anything to throw in,
I've asked them to save their questions for later and then just bombard me.
Yeah. And
Perfect.
Evan, let us know how much was your curfew as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see.
Curfew.
Yeah, it's 8:20 in the morning here, so it shouldn't be for a while.
Oh, you were up so early for us. Thank you so much for doing that. I didn't realize.
That's all right. That's cool. I just rolled out of bed.
Oh, thank you.
I am good for another hour and 40. So
okay,
perfect.
That's great.
Let's keep on trucking.
Yeah. All right. Hannes, I don't see the stream. Can you reshare the multi-view?
Of course I can.
I think
everything
that's
for you.
Only thing I need to see there. See if it pops up for me. It does. Because then I can... Okay, great. Let's go into the sheet metal thing then. So this is... All right, Evan, I have a question about the sheet metal model in Onshape. So I'm toying around with this kind of design for my programming wheel. So this is 2mm stainless steel, laser or water cut, with all these tab functionality to make a 3D part out of a 2D cutting machine. And all these are just manually modeled. It's just me extruding bodies. And then I clicked the sheet metal thing, and I didn't understand anything. So if you could...
Okay.
I know from Derek that I've heard rumors that sheet metal is fantastic in Onshape. If you can just intro to me how I would achieve this part with the sheet metal.
Will you mouse over that and hit Shift-I for me to isolate that part?
Okay, Shift-I.
Okay, let's zoom in. I just want to see what details we're working with here. So there's tabs. Are there any tabs that just go straight down into the part as well?
There were. Okay. So and it might be, yeah. And also, by the way, these are two alternate designs. These tabs might replace these tabs. This is kind of, we're not actually having both of these. Or, by the way, these tabs might replace these tabs. It was another way of doing it. So I've just been sketching. We do have, I do have the flat profile, if we can show that too. I guess we need to go out of isolate then and isolate the flat profile. So from the beginning, it looks like this. Something like that. And this is not the actual part. It's just a concept of using, so you're free to actually do whatever kind of geometry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me get my screen sharing again and see if I can not crash Chrome while I'm doing it. That would be nice. Get reconnected to Onshape here.
Just while we're waiting for that, I can also tell chat that there's a cool thing called K-factor, which is kind of how a material behaves when you bend it. And the K-factor is kind of highly repeatable for example, stainless steel at a certain thickness. So what these software can do is that they can actually predict how long a tab will become after you try to bend it in a special way with a K-factor. I think it's a kind of okay summary, even though I'm not a pro at the K-factor. But okay, let's go to Evan's screen then, Hannes.
There we go. And could you full screen that for me, Evan? And I would be very happy.
I will do that if I haven't already. I think it is. Is that not looking right?
It's a little bit wrong aspect ratio.
Odd. Are we looking at the same screen? Are we looking at me sketching in Onshape?
Yep.
Huh, okay.
It looks kind of almost. Is it good enough, Hannes? It looks almost.
I know how much you hate that phrasing, Martin. Good enough.
Yeah, it was Mediocrates who said it, the old Greek. Yeah.
I'm not sure what's up with it.
It's good enough for me and for chat, I think. And if Martin gives the go-ahead, let's keep on trucking.
I won't whip you after for the aspect ratio.
You.
It's on me, Hannes. It's on me.
Yeah. It will whip me for your camera being black right now. But it will be back in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, let's say this is the shape of our part, and we can from here go into sheet metal model, and you'll notice I tend to just use this hotkey and search for tools. Yep. Because there's just a lot to dig through up here, and I am a custom feature collector, and so I have a massive amount of things that I am not going to go find manually. So I've just gotten in the habit of typing most of what I am looking for. So inside of sheet metal, we have three main options for how to create a sheet metal part. One is convert. I don't have it set up to show. I can show that in a second. For extrude, we can take curves like this, and it will go ahead and create them. you can see we've got a thickness, bend radius. We can get into K factor down here, like you were talking about, Martin. We can flip what side the sheet metal goes on, and change all these things about the model. So if you're extruding, you can extrude individual edges, and it puts bends in, which is nice. We can also thicken, which is going to just take this part and thicken it out. But that would even work if let me actually do just a real extrude to create a surface, so I can show you that. Great. And then maybe I could put even a ruled surface here or something like that. So I've got a shape like that, and you can use the sheet metal model, set to thicken, and then pick edges that you want to bend. Right now it's 3 separate pieces, but I can choose these edges to convert them into bends.
Why did you use surface? I'm so bad with surface, so
in this case, I don't know. It was just like there and easy to grab. But actually, let me just show you the same with an extrusion. But no particular reason in that case, I guess. Okay. So Shift E to extrude. Let's say we have this, that part. Okay. And I come back to sheet metal model. This is where you can use convert. So with convert, you end up, this is good for making boxes and things that have to fit around another object, because I can convert the entire part at once and then decide where it's going to bend. So maybe this is the bends, and you see how it's going ahead and adding all of the relief geometry that I need. And let's see, we're going to do that all the way around. So now I'm done. That part is good. I can even, if I wanted to make sure that it keeps, that it's going to fit this part exactly. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. If I go to the right plane and section through that, you can see how if we wanted to make a metal box that fits our blue box perfectly, the bends are going to be in the way. So you can include the bends here, and it'll make sure that it's just barely touching, which also is going to add some space, and you can add additional space if you want.
Wow.
So it's a very flexible tool. And then once this is set up, the result is a type of geometry in Onshape that is called a sheet metal body, and so it has some different kind of characteristics. One of the coolest.
Can you now extract the flat pattern from that, then, I guess?
Yeah, exactly where I'm headed. So
sorry, I got excited.
No. We're tracking. That's what I'm saying. So we made a sheet metal model, and as soon as we did, this icon popped up over here. Sheet metal flat view. So I can look at the flat pattern of this model, and you can see it's even cross highlighting. So if I highlight this face, it shows me in the flat where that is. And you can even do certain operations here. Like I can sketch in the flat view here and drop some geometry out like that. Let's say, turn it into a slot. I'm going to leave it unconstrained, but we can extrude and do a cut in the flat view and push it back to the 3D view.
Wow.
So you can do some pretty neat stuff. And then since this is a sheet metal body, we get access to a whole bunch of other tools as well here that will help us produce sheet metal-y things. So I can grab a flange, for example, and just pick an edge and get that to come in correctly. You can do a partial if you want, and see how it's going to add the relief geometry that I need and that kind of thing as well.
Wow. So
there's a lot of control here, and all of this is now going to feed back in the flat pattern, which I think you'll tell me that I have an error. Yeah, it's like self-intersecting now. But you can see that. You can audit and see like that flange is too long. So I could shorten it. And so you can see now this is manufacturable.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of cool stuff here. But let's get back to something more like what you were working on with your programming wheel. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. And I think we can start with a thicken. And one thing that's kind of cool, I already had the face of the sketch picked. And when I went into the model, the sheet metal model feature, by default, it's on convert. But if you noticed, it very quickly jumped over to thicken because I pre-selected something that's like, well, he can only want one thing, right?
Okay.
So it's smart about that. Let's see. I don't remember exactly what yours was looking like, but I think you had some.
I have a couple of tabs sticking down. So can you just, for fun, can you just add a curve on the bottom surface, because it's going to be on a super large diameter wheel?
Oh yeah,
so
right,
just add a curve,
right.
because that might make it a little bit different. Yeah, something like that. Perfect.
Cool. And I'm going to just use the Q key to make that construction so that I shouldn't have to update anything else. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the tabs should now be perpendicular to the center of that curve. It's we don't have to go into all the minutiae, but yeah. Though now we want a couple of tabs sticking down, and they're going to be bent in different ways.
Yeah. I see. There's a number of approaches that I might take, but let me see here. I'm trying to think through what I think makes the most sense. I mean, one way is to kind of sketch it flat like you had it, and then there's a bend feature that lets you just kind of bend each tab after the fact. So if that's how your mind already works, you've been working with flat patterns like this for years, and maybe that's how you would like to think about it, you can totally do that. Another way we might approach is actually doing it in more of a surfacing workflow, where I can use the offset surface tool to just I've converted that sketch face into a surface, and then I can use whatever sketch tools I want to make some tabs coming out, and then later come and thicken or convert that. So you could work that way. So maybe as an example, inside this sketch, I can split the edge where I want tabs to be. So now this surface has an edge, and I could use the ruled surface feature to start modeling it flat like that, and then let's see if we can convert that in a reasonable way. Oh, that one doesn't want to thicken. Yeah. So that's one of the limitations is certain types of geometry don't convert to sheet metal really well, because I guess it can't be processed flat. So this is one of those.
So for me, perhaps it's not the most elegant way of doing it, but for me, I want to CAD it like the way it's going to be built. So I would love to CAD it. It's probably not like the best way, but if you say that it's legitimate way to show me, at least for now, as the first thing, would be to just make the pattern flat and then bend it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Maybe it's wrong, but I would love to see how that's done at least.
Okay. Great. So one thing we can do is just edit this original sketch. If you want to just add tabs here, I think that's okay. You could probably add them separately as well if you prefer.
So I guess we're doing it like the wrong way, because what the software is actually helping you with is to find the flat pattern. We should tell the software the end product, and then the software should give us the flat pattern. Now we're doing it the other way around, but it's my fault.
I think it's not bad. I mean, they offer that tool for a reason. Okay. I'm going to grab all these B to make them parallel, and then if you wanted, you could I added a center line here. And you could zoom way out and find the middle of that arc and make those touch or something, so that it's always coming straight out.
Yep.
So that's fine. Let's say give it a width. 20
I would
millimeters.
love if they could make perpendicular instead of tangent. Just make it perpendicular to a curve.
You can. So
you can?
I have this constraint that I just added, but I can actually just pick that, and use this normal constraint, and that will do the same thing.
Thank you. Yeah, because
yes.
I drew a lot in my sketches. I had like 500 lines from the center, and I just made coincident to make them collinear to achieve that. But that was what I was looking for. Thank you.
Great.
Why, it's so funny that I don't look through the menus with my eyes.
I mean, that if you don't know what the word normal means in the context of CAD, you're not going to be like, ooh, you know.
That's exactly what perfect normal too. So that works on a lot of stuff, or just on curves.
Curves, but I mean the same concept applies to a face. Like a surface has surface normals as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so we've added a tab we can do here. And then I've already got this curve. Well, we need a straight line to represent our bend. I'm just going to sketch on this face and drop a line. And this is where I think somebody like Derek might be screaming at his computer right now if he's watching, because he does, sheet metal professionally all day. And most of my professional experience was more like plastic part design and, enclosures and high-tech stuff like that. So I haven't done as much sheet metal as he has for sure. But we can try to use
I think it might be better for me to learn this first by you, and then Derek can swoop in and do the finish touches.
Maybe.
because this, so far I'm following what you're doing.
I see. Well,
there's always a lot of ways to do the same thing, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know why this isn't actually bending for me, and maybe Derek again would know the answer here. Hold line. There we go. So there's all these different options for the bend alignment, and I think I was trying to bend in such a way that the bend itself was starting to get up into this area. So when I set hold line, it's going to bend where the edge of the bend starts, right there at my line.
Got it. Sorry, can you step back one step? If you just that bend, did you apply another line in the sketch to help the bend?
Yeah. So I added this separate sketch.
Oh, okay, so you added another sketch on top, which is just bending information.
Yep, it's just the axis of the bend, so it's a straight line.
And you didn't want that in the first sketch for cleanliness, or?
It gets a lot easier to manage. It adds navigability to the model, and I guess just editability. Like if you downstream, you're like, oh, I didn't want that bend, or I didn't even want that whole tab. Like it's good to build in small pieces and build up to something. So I suppose to that end, even adding the tab here in this sketch is probably not the best way to do it. Maybe adding a separate sketch that's the tabs so you can move them around easily is probably better.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that's the bend line, and then you accessed the bend tool from the sheet metal.
Yeah, it's in here.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Let's see. I had some other examples already, so these might be worth taking a peek at. So different approaches. I think you had sent me originally a part that looked kind of like this, like tabs coming out both ways, although I didn't curve the bottom of it like yours. So you'll probably run into, it's a little bit trickier. You might have to make a flat, and then you can do your tabs and things from that. But here's just a step through of what I've got here. Notice I'm setting up variables for the sheet metal as well. I think this is really helpful to do. So for the thickness of the metal, for the bend radius, it's good to do those as variables, because during the sheet metal design process, a lot of times you want to create a tab or a flange or something, and then you want to move it by the bend radius. Just, you can use the move face feature here is a very integral part of how sheet metal is done in Onshape. All right, so I just
interrupt you guys here.
Go ahead.
Martin, please. Could you reload your Ninja screen?
Okay. Just all right, I'm gonna reload. You're gonna keep hearing me, I guess. Boop, boop, boop. There. So going to share. Oh, and I'm not going to share my screen because we're looking at Evan's screen right now.
Okay.
Perhaps I should have. Do you want me to share my screen?
There we go. No. Let's see. Yep, you're back. Now we can continue, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Hannes.
All right. So one approach that I took to get this kind of a shape, I was running into, I guess, I don't know if a bug is the right word, but it was having some problems with the relief in the middle. So I ended up, in pretty much all the techniques that I was exploring, having to add that back in manually. But here's what I've done. I've set up a sketch to represent where I want these tabs to go, including the width and the length and in their position and all of that. And then I've used the flange tool and I've just picked this whole edge. And the interesting thing with this tool is it really doesn't matter which edge. Like you can pick that edge, or you can pick this face, or you can pick that edge. It really is going to give you the same result as long as it's just on that part of the sheet metal model. So you don't have to worry, picking that edge or picking this edge or all of them. It's same. And by default, it's just going to be the full thing. But I wanted it to be, I'm just choose an edge because it's less orange. So by default, it's going to be the whole thing, but you can set up a partial flange. And what I've done is by default, it'll just be blind like this, and you get this little slider, and you can just eyeball it. But you can also change and go up to entity. And I have chosen this vertex of that sketch. So now the flange is always going to fall here. And I've done the same. I've done a second bound up to this vertex. So now this sketch is driving the width of that flange.
Yeah. Quick question. Because of my curved surface, we have to think about like things are not going to go into the locating holes perpendicularly. There's a whole thing with like it's only going to register on one edge of the flange. So I might want to do miter or some kind of like arrow. I want the tab to be thinner at the top than at the bottom. Basically, I'm losing the word for it.
You want to like chamfer these or create a lead in or something?
I want to chamfer those with a very shallow chamfer. Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, so there's maybe a few approaches. One is move face, like I talked about. So we can move, say, this face, and we can rotate it about. I can use a mate connector here. So if I click this button, I'm getting mate connectors showing up everywhere.
Oh, you can rotate the move face? Had no clue. Cool.
Yeah. So I could choose that mate connector, and then click this to get out of there, and I can start to just move the whole thing.
Will now then translate to the flat pattern.
Yeah. So that's in my flat pattern. So I could say set up a variable for that called taper, or whatever it is that you want. I'm going to use Shift Enter, which is the same as clicking this button and then clicking Move Face again. It's just a faster way to go because I know I need to do another one in a row. Move that face. Rotate. Our axis will be here. And I'll just use that same variable. So now that's tapered, and it's over here in the flat pattern tapered as well.
Oh, wow.
So that's one approach. And then another way that might be easier if you can get away with it is to use the corner break feature, which is kind of like, you can think of it as fillet, but for sheet metal. You can use the fillet feature, but this one just has some more sheet metal friendly kind of things, and also has a chamfer option. So I could choose these edges and just chamfer them. We could do two distances, so you can have one side. This is one of the challenges. Here we go. So direction override. By default, it gets all the way back to the math of how CAD works. Like every line, every curve has a start and it has an end. And then those things, they're kind of arbitrary. Like they just, sometimes the start is one end, sometimes it's the other, but it needs to have that. And then that determines the direction of certain things like this. So I want to override the direction on this one, and it'll just let me flip it. So you could do it back this way, and that would work fine. It's kind of creating a little bit of odd geometry here, but it's maybe fine for what you're doing. I don't know.
I'm curious. Do that odd geometry, but now, because now we have like an angled edge. How would the flat pattern deal with that angled edge? Is it going to show us the outermost edge then, I guess?
Well, it's. I mean, it's. You can look in the 3D for the flat pattern. So this edge is that, and it's done a good job at making it truly a flat pattern.
Okay.
Although this does look a little tilted, though, doesn't it?
I think we have a little tilt in the cut, and I was thinking that might not be good for the laser.
It would not be good for the laser. Derek!
Derek! Okay, but that's awesome. But can you show the flat pattern out in the model? So, because from like, can you just click something to make that flange right there stick straight down?
There is a flat pattern copy custom feature, so I can grab this sheet metal part, and I don't know why it's not working. Active sheet metal models are not allowed. That doesn't seem very helpful. All right, I don't know. I haven't used that feature much.
Oh, we have to like convert it into a solid first.
Doesn't seem like that should be the case, but you can finish a sheet metal model, and this allows you to. That's not it. Finish sheet metal model.
We step out of sheet metal mode, you mean?
Yeah, and now this is just seen as a normal part. You can do anything to it. You could now you could like Boolean stuff to it. For example, like if I just come in here and create a rectangle on it, you can.
Is that custom for? Is that normal for the workflow to finish the sheet metal model?
Usually you want to avoid it, but there's certain things that you might want to represent on the design. But this change will not show up in the flat pattern. It kind of, once we finish the model, the flat pattern is frozen where it was.
Okay.
Even if I further modify this.
So when I manufacture this, I'll export some SVG or DXF from the flat pattern.
Yeah,
menu
exactly.
There?
Yeah, I can just right click this and export a DXF or a DWG.
Yeah. SVG, something else. Okay. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Whereas if I put this above the sheet metal model, see how that popped over to my flat pattern? Because the sheet metal model is still active when this cut was made.
Okay, so it's a great intro. I don't feel completely like that it's super intuitive. It feels like it's going to be kind of a lot of guessing back and forth on how to have the software help me.
I think there is a learning curve to it, but I think you'll get in a groove. Like I said, this is not one of the areas of Onshape where I've just spent hours and hours and hours professionally, and so I think the people who have would have blown through this.
Okay, but that's a perfect intro. Thank you so much, and we'll get to part 2 with Evan with Derek one day. Then I'll guess.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
Okay. Awesome, Evan. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm very excited for the bent profiles for the programming wheel. Okay, but where are we on the topics? What do you feel like moving on with, Evan, from the list?
Let's see. I gotta view that list. Hannes, what else is on there that's catching your eye?
I will bring it up for you guys here. We have model planning, feature script, configurations.
Oh, dang, those are all good topics.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's good. We're so smart for coming up with this topic.
Let's make it more chronological then. Model planning.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
So before going into that, I need a quick little break. If you still have time to move forward a little bit, and it's been super helpful so far, Evan. I'm feeling super inspired. So this has been really packed with the gold, actually. But a 2-minute breather for me. I need get some water, and I'll be right back. Can you hold the fort, Hannes?
I can hold the fort, Evan. You can take a break if you want to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I will do that.
Yeah, so let me change to a Martin screen. You go and take a breather, Evan. And chat. Today we are blessed by the presence of Onshape expert Evan Reese, helping Martin become more efficient in Onshape. And we have tackled some of the topics you see on screen here now. We will keep on trucking here. We have about 1 hour and 10 more minutes on this stream. And as I said in chat earlier, feel free to think of good questions and hit me with them when we're getting closer to, I think, about like the last half hour or so. We will start taking some questions from you guys. I'm guessing that you have a lot of stuff that you want to get Evan's take on. I'm sorry for yawning. But so far, so good. It's been very, very interesting. Very good teacher, this Evan guy. Super polite and really knowledgeable. So I know later this week, Martin is gonna share some of the CAD. He wants some help. And more about that will be talked about in this week's Wednesday video on the main channel. So look forward to that. I know Martin spent the day today recording segments for that reason, for the sharing of the CAD. And I just saw that we have Evan back. There he is. I'm not alone anymore. You're doing
That's
great
right.
so far, Evan.
Hey, thanks. I've been having a blast.
Yeah, and chat. They're sitting here like good school children, just listening. I see a lot of comments like, that is awesome. A lot of cool stuff
good.
we didn't know about. So they already learned a bunch of stuff.
It will be fun if we have time for any questions. I'm open to that, and if not, people can hit me up after too. I frequent the Onshape forums and all that. So
let's try to like the last 30-20 minutes or something like that. I've seen some questions
cool.
coming along. So people are wondering a bunch of stuff. Let's see. I hear and see Martin coming back with another big load of water. That man drinks a lot of water. Okay, are we back? There's Martin as well. Okay, let's see if I can share Evan's screen. Bum, bum, bum. There we are. And there both of the guys are. So we're going to talk about model planning.
That's right.
Yeah, perfect.
Good. It was nice with a little reset to take in all the information. So you can intro this subject, Evan, because please intro the model planning.
Okay, sure. So model planning, really, if you were here for the first part and you caught what we were talking about with the levels of rigor, it is really related to that topic. So in Onshape, because it is a parametric CAD system, the best way to use the tool, or the way to use all of the power of the tool, is to really use the parameters. Set your model up in a way that your data flows cleanly through, and you have a design intent that is updatable. You could change something fundamental late in the project and everything else should update. But to do that, especially as part of a team, takes some careful thought. And so I have made these maps. I'm using Miro here, the whiteboarding tool. And these represent more of like a level 3 level of organization for each of these products. So not everything that you see here needs to be how you do everything all the time. This is when you're doing your nice final models. These are some examples. So, like I had said earlier, I previously had co-founded and owned and operated this design and engineering agency. So these are all projects that we did at the agency. And I've made a map of the way the data is set up in Onshape for each of them, either how we did do it or how I kind of wished we had done it in hindsight, but just to give a sense for what it might look like at different levels of complexity. So at the left side, we have the simplest, and at the right side, the most complex. And let's get in and take a little look at how I've set up the legend for this, so you can interpret what you're looking at. So inside of each of these maps, I'm showing a document as a blue rectangle. So a document in Onshape, you can have as many as you want, and you can have them linked to each other. And so for complicated projects, multi-document approach is a really good way to go. So anyway, a document is kind of like a bucket, and inside of that bucket, you can put all of your tabs. So each of these represents a different kind of a tab. The main one we're going to see here is this blue. That's a part studio. That's where you do your editing, make your features. And we have this teal as an assembly. So those are the primary things you're going to see. So let's take a look at at how this product is set up. So this is a backpacking saw that uses an off-the-shelf, reciprocating saw blade, so you can just swap it from any hardware store. Kind of a cool concept. And this is simple. It's just a few parts. There's a plastic injection molded handle. There's this little metal pin that gets press fit in so that the blade doesn't eventually wear through the metal. It gives the blade something to press against. And then we've got this thumb screw and a nut on the other side. So and a blade. So it's pretty low key. And our Onshape is structured like this. Everything's in one document. We have a saw blade that was essentially like an off-the-shelf thing. So I've got this yellow just showing like we're not custom. This is just like it is what it is, and we're designing around it. There's a logo, and then we just did all the modeling in one part studio, including the model for this little screw and all of that, the plastic, all of that. It was just one place, put it all together into an assembly, make a drawing, like pretty basic. And that's good. Like, you don't want to overcomplicate it, but you do start to get into things that are a little bit more complicated, where there's more subsystems involved. So the marble machine has many subsystems, and often a subsystem or a major subassembly is a good place to partition your design and put that in a new document. In fact, let's go over all the way to the right and look at the most complex thing on here. This is a locker that holds medical inventory and so like chemo meds and stuff like that. And then it has all of a bunch of circuit boards and things that help keep track of the inventory. So if some medication is removed or put somewhere else, it keeps track of all of that so that you can get that stuff. So this is used by clinicians in oncology clinics. And this one looks maybe more like this. So we had one document that has all of the major relationships. So that's where the height of the thing is being driven, and the position of this shelf, and the location, and ergonomics for this panel are captured there. But we're not modeling all the individual little drawers and screws and all of that. We're just capturing major relationships.
So you're not doing a master part as a part studio. You're actually lifting that out to an entire document.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is worth saying that what we're looking at here is kind of like the end state. And what I often recommend is to begin in one document, and you'll know it's time to split it out, because the document will get slow.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
It'll get slow and it'll get disorganized, or it'll get full, just cluttered. So that's it's good to start in one document so that you get nice, quick interactions between the things. If you remember from when we were talking about versions and branches, the difference between a version and a workspace. A workspace is where work is happening all the time. And if you're in the same document, you can link tabs together from the workspace. So you change one, the other one's already updated. If they're in separate documents, you can only link to a version. So you change this one is not changed until you version and update. So it adds a little bit of friction, but it adds more stability as well. Yeah. So early in a project, it's more valuable to get that live update, even at the expense of organization and the regeneration time of the document, the performance of the document. But later, it matters more that the design is stable and that it moves quickly and it's organized. So this is kind of the end state after it's gone through that process. But yes, there is a master somewhere, or a parent studio might be a better word for it. It's where you're doing your blob modeling right now. You can also have a ton of variable studios. Like these can each be lists of important parameters. So getting back to what we were talking about earlier, where I like to pull out variables so that I have the levers that I want to pull later in the design, those can be defined in a variable studio tabs, which is basically like a table of all of those that can drive the design. So those might live in one central place. So this is like the place where all of the main levers are. Like you put it all in one place. So if you need to make global edits to the whole design, this is where you come. And then each of those, we made one document per major subsystem. So taking a look back at this product, there's 3 major subsystems. There's this upper unit There's this middle that has all the like power supply and electronics and all of that. And then there's a lower storage unit. And so we split that into 3 different documents. And each one of those gets their own kind of like blob modeling area where you get into more detail. So you put things here that like you do need to know more specifically to model this lower unit. Like the positions of the locations of the shelves, for example. Like the interface between the power supply and the lower doesn't care where the shelves are. So that data goes here. You want the data to be pushed as low as is reasonable.
That's great, because when Derek introduced the master part model technique for me, I was super annoyed that there was going to be lower levels blob models as well. But with your example there, it makes so much sense, because now you're in the lower part of the cabinet and you want to know, are there 3 or 4 shelves there? Like, and that goes into that makes a lot of sense for me. I have done nothing like that in my model. Perhaps I should start doing that a little bit. Like, like you go into the I should probably start using that as well.
I think it would be a good idea. I think you're probably are operating or somewhere in like what I would call a level, like a high level 1 or level 2, something like that. And level 2 is also a good time to do a dress rehearsal of the final model. So using some of those techniques, even if maybe they're a little bit heavy-handed for what you're trying to accomplish, like part of the job of that model, I keep coming back to that phrase, is practice, because you haven't done this technique before. So build in some of that practice to that model, even if you're going to redo it again later. I think it's a great call.
Yep.
But yeah, so you essentially have like sub-parent studios that have more information. And crucially, I advise people to avoid making horizontal relationships. You'll notice I do not ever have an arrow coming across like this. I have things that are coming from outside, but if I needed to capture a different relationship between these two, like the mounting hole pattern that is going to connect them, that belongs up here. Mm-hmm. Because so instead of relating this one over to that and like, oh, this is convenient, I did that sketch, I wish I had it here, I'm going to go back up here, add it there, and then update both of these so they both have it. It's also, the more you get used to it, this can feel overwhelming a bit at first, but in reality, like all of this is producing one model, and which document and which tab you're in can feel more fluid. And so that's where, you might have this tab open and that tab open and some of these tabs open in Chrome, and you're just jumping around. And the more comfortable you get with that, the more it feels like you're just modeling one thing and you just know where the information goes. But in your mind,
that's a great reframe, because I feel like almost like every tab, every part studio is a new design, but that's a completely wrong way of looking at it. It's just all different perspectives on the same thing. Yeah. And what is really nice about working in this way is you get the right level of zoom. Like up here, you're not worrying about the millimeters of every little piece. And then, like this is like, I'm getting an aerial view, and I'm thinking in terms of aerial views and like system level decision making. And then down here, I'm fussing over like, should I have like a 0.5 millimeter clearance or a 0.3 millimeter clearance? Like that's what we care about down here. And it makes it a little easier to constantly like zoom out and look at the design. Do we still like it? Zoom in, solve problems, rather than kind of having everything screaming with the same level of like urgency all at once. Can you zoom out and show a little bit? First of all, is it okay if I screenshot this?
Yeah, that's fine. There's a video I put out on my channel that has all this.
Okay. I just think it was really helpful for me to see that. I just wanted to see the main assembly document down there. It's getting information from the 3 sections, obviously. Mm-hmm. It's drawing all those parts in, and it's getting information. Is it also getting information from the master part at the top. Not really, actually.
No, none of that's an interesting point that you brought up, is like none of the geometry here is any of your parts yet, and none of the geometry here is any of your final parts. This is all the stuff that becomes the final design.
Yeah.
These are the parts you release, you manufacture. These are the parts that become the marble machine.
Yeah. So also a little bit, if you zoom out to your whole thing, I was thinking when you showed, if you can see all the even more out so we can see the photos.
Oh yeah, sure.
I was like, the marble machine is not on this scale at all. It's like 5 steps to the right of this cabinet, it feels like.
It is. Yeah, I do agree. I think it's quite complex.
It is, especially like an engineer once said, like, Martin, when you're trying to build precision equipment, especially if you want to, most often the parts you want to control with high precision is often secured to your machine. Your parts that you want to control with millisecond and positional precision are loose in the machine. And it was such a great reframing about like the complexity we're up against. And when I see all these products, I'm like, oh, I want to make that backpacker saw,
Yeah, no, it is. Those ones are fun to get every once in a while, because it's like, oh, I can absolutely crush this, no question.
With the level of rigor, it's like 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. Speed, 11 out of 10. Perhaps not speed. It's a lot of decisions going into simple designs as well. Just because there's one part, you can still fuss about it for 10 years. Absolutely. Okay, sorry for derailing. I just thought it was funny. Okay, but you said also when you introduced us, this is the best case scenario, what we sometimes wish we had done. So what you're showing is also with a bit of hindsight. You're not nailing this from the beginning always.
Yeah, not always, and it's somewhat fluid. You might get into it and realize, wow, actually this lower unit document is bogging down, and what I should do is actually just do this, and then like put these into their own document. So you can partition on the fly, and it's nice to have a sense of where you're headed, but it is still fluid. You can move things between documents and further partition as you go. I
have a low-level question for you, Evan. And that's about how to move part studios between documents. I don't know if that's too low level, but I feel like you helped me with the branches. It would be really helpful for me if you could guide me through that process. If that's a nice place to go now.
Yeah, easy. Are you seeing Onshape right now?
Yep.
Okay, great. So let's say that this tab we want to move. I'm going to right click it, and you can just go move to document. And then you can navigate to where that document is, or
that was difficult.
or make a new document, my new document. So I can move it.
And then it's just going to go to the root of that document. And if there are folders and stuff, we have to go into that document to choose the folders. Or
yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm in that document, and it's here. And sorry, there we go. Yeah, so now that's here. But one thing that's interesting is if I come back and share the original document, if I look at the versions, moving that out, it says part out, and it moved it out. And if I roll back to here, before that happened, the tab is still going to be there. So the versions in the history is truly a snapshot of everything in the whole document, all tabs. And all actions. So now, I could make a version here and branch and begin editing this part again here. So it is moved. It is over here in this other document, but it's not like you lose it or you can't undo that again if you needed to.
Yeah. Are you working with a 3D mouse for those beautiful? Yeah. Do you recommend that? I have one. I didn't do enough of breaking it in, so I stopped using it.
Yeah, it's a steep learning curve, but I really like it. Once you get used to it, it's so much more fluid. And so, yeah, I really do like it because I can just zip around pretty
It looks
easily.
fantastic when you're working. It has that touch of professionality as well. And also for me, if I'm going to live stream a lot of CAD, I think it's just visually much more pleasing for the viewers.
Yeah. The other one can get a little jittery, make people seasick.
Yeah, okay. That might be a side project coming up. Me breaking in 3D. The 3D mouse I already have, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was great. So when I do my spring cleaning, I right-click the part studio and move it to the archive document.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing more to it than that. Thank you. Okay. So model planning. Did you want to finish that subject, or did I cut it short?
I think we were pretty much there. Let me just kind of recap, and we'll put a bow on it. So yeah, I think you're right. Your machine is over here somewhere. It's a lot. I mean, it is complicated. It's like over 1,000 parts. There's like 100 circuit boards in here. There's a lot going on. But yeah, I think yours is more complex. I expect for what yours would look like is you'll have many more sub units for each major sub assembly. And even those might get certain sub documents. Like I would just, I guess, encourage you to think ahead about it. And maybe this is a session that we could do together another time if you want, once it like get in and actually like try to break it down and make one of these maps, if you'd like. But I expect you'll have more documents for sub assemblies, and then the folder structure can help, like the document side, like on the Onshape dashboard where you're actually navigating through the project, using folders there to make sure those are organized.
I think I'm very happy that you opened the door for getting together again in the future. I think when we're gonna leave level 2 and start to go to level 3 of execute CAD, that will be the perfect opportunity to kind of revisit this together if you want to at that time.
Totally, yeah, that's a perfect time to make one of those maps and start the model setup correct, because it's like, you start on it as good as you can, and then it gets more and more disorganized as entropy sets in and all of that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Hannes, things are flickering on my screens, but I think everything is healthy on your end.
Yeah, Evan stopped sharing his screen, so he will have to reshare it when we continue.
Okay.
But for now, I just have you guys in full screen.
Okay. Nice.
Just end the recording there, and let's see what we have left on our little schedule here. We did model planning. We have the feature script. Is that interesting?
We have that. We have configurations too.
Yeah.
I think configs would be a good one, because that'll be more useful to you, I think, in the near term. And then feature script, what could be good to talk about is just getting a sense of what's possible, so that later when you run into a problem that's a good candidate for it, like the light bulb goes off and you know to like dig into that.
Good. Let's go configurations.
So, which one of you will show their screens then?
Martin, do you want to do it, and I can talk you through it?
Yeah, that's nice. So
that's great. We can configure. I thought maybe the different drums would be a good candidate for configuring the model. So if you have different sizes of essentially the same object, you can configure.
And we have roughly 45 minutes left on the stream. Also good to have in mind if we want to have some Q&A at the end, so we don't overdo it now.
Okay. Let's go configurations. I think your example with the drums is a good one, but I have an even more favorite one. It would be the marble droppers, because I want to use different size marbles. So I want to have kind of the same mechanism for an 11mm marble as a 25mm marble.
Okay,
that's
so
perfect,
intro this segment then, Martin, and then you guys are off.
Okay. All right, Evan. I've heard there's something called configurations in Onshape, and on the marble machine, I'm going to have different sized marble droppers for 25mm marbles or for 16mm marbles. And I guess that could be a perfect use case where we make a marble dropper design, and perhaps we use configurations to change the size of that design. Am I barking down the right tree here?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a perfect use case when you have things that are similar but not the same, and you need to, I guess you want to keep them coupled. So like if you make a change to one of them, you want that change made to all the other ones. Otherwise, you might as well just like duplicate the tab and just make a different version of the same thing. But then if you decide I'm tweaking the mechanism and I want to tweak it for all of them, if it's configured, you get that for free.
Okay. Yeah, there also was for the drums, but we're only having like 2 drums that can be similar, and I think they're very dissimilar actually in the real world. So
yeah,
perhaps also the vibraphone bars are all individuals. They need their individual holders with slight change. I don't know. I think perhaps Derek got me into configurations there, but. Should we go for the dropper? I actually don't have the droppers, but perhaps you can just walk me through the. Can we do it from scratch?
Yeah, let's do it from scratch. You can catch me up maybe on like the basics of the mechanism.
Yeah, I don't. Like,
if we're not sure yet. Okay.
This is what I have today. I know the mechanism.
Okay, great.
It would take too long time for me to draw it up, but
fair. Yeah.
Should I? Let's open a part studio. I'll do a level 1 sketch here on the front plane. So we're gonna have. So I guess this is the first marble size. I guess we're going to do as a configuration.
Yeah, or a variable.
Or a variable. Okay, so that's already. What's the distinction there actually?
So a variable can be a feature in your feature tree, and then we can configure that variable to change. So when you pick large marble, it's whatever, 25 millimeters. I don't know what your sizes are. But it's nice to have a variable for marble diameter. So
okay,
yeah, create that.
I'll write large.
And
I can't create it there.
You need a hash to start. There you go.
Large marble.
Just make it marble size, and we'll change it to be various. We'll change what it is. Yeah, marble diameter, whatever it is.
Oh, so here it can become a feature, or it could become a configuration here in this menu.
Oh, that would create a configuration variable, which is nice if you want something that has like infinite permutations. You don't want to have every possible marble diameter. You're going to be working from a fixed list.
Yeah. Okay, so we have variables, we have configuration, and we also have configuration variables. Those are three distinct things. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going with a
one
variable
quick note
here.
on this, though. I would capitalize the S in marble size, and that will help with autocomplete later. So if you type MS later, it will see that second one, and you just hit enter, and you don't have to type the full thing every time. Now, I leave the first one lowercase. That's just me, but you could do that. Some people use underscores in between, but as long as you're doing either of these, capitalizing the first letter of each word or underscores, the autocomplete will work.
Interesting. Cool tidbit there. Should I create this one?
Yeah, go for it.
And we just had a default value here of 25, which the variable. Yeah, that's a configuration. I've done some configurations. That's where we have default values. This is actually a variable.
So you hit the green check there, and that should apply it. There we go. So now we have a marble.
Yeah. So let's just say that we also have just a gate that sits on a pivot. Like that. We also have a lane that the marble sits on. Let's say that this is our marble gate for the configurations.
Okay, great.
So this opens like that and releases the marble.
Okay, easy enough. So I know we're kind of like doing level 1 here. If I were trying to do a more like tidy model, I would probably just leave the marble as its own sketch, and then I would model the rail and maybe the gate together if they interact, and if not, maybe 3 separate sketches for each thing, like one for each thing.
Perhaps I should do that just to learn from you, or do you
sure,
think
yeah, why not?
Okay, so you would actually bring this out, and be done with the first marble sketch here, and then now I'm sketching on the planes here. I know that's, and then And then you would like use the geometry with hitting U, or just leave it there, the marble?
Just leave it. Yeah, just leave it.
Okay.
I try to avoid use if I can help it.
Okay. So we have now I'm doing my lever here. I'm not going to do anything beautiful. I don't know if this is the what if that was over.
Yeah, it was left over from the first one.
Let me go and clean
ignore
that
it
because I'm annoyed. All right, we have the pivot. You want the pivot in its own sketch or the lane here as well?
I would probably do the lane separately, but that's for like a nice level 3-ish model. So for
but that's great to hear about that. So yeah. So I guess we have okay. You tell me where the configurations comes in here.
Sure, that seems fine. How does the gate relate to the marble? Does it rest against it?
Yeah. So let's do then I would do use, but you would do tangent directly to the second sketch like that?
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah.
You can relate, because I don't think in Fusion 360 you can.
Oh, really? Okay. I haven't used Fusion very much.
No, okay. So you can relate things, you can constrain between sketches.
Yes,
wow,
absolutely.
I had no clue. Then I guess we're going to have one thing here.
Yeah, a fixed length, that's good. And then we probably want to know...
we want to know some angles and stuff.
Yeah, I think the pivot location, is that going to be fixed relative to the marble?
Yeah,
or relative to the origin?
We can configure that exactly. So we're gonna... Okay, this is not going to be... I think this should be a configuration thing. This is not really like... It's just for you to show me the mechanics of configurations.
Sure.
So I'm just adding a few, and then we'll see what we change.
Yeah, just lock it down, whatever you want to do. That's fine.
Okay, I'm happy with this.
Great. Yeah, you can complete that sketch.
Okay.
The reason it might be nice to actually, which you did, you dimensioned where that pivot goes, is if let's make a configuration to start, and we'll have something to play with. So
it's
on the right,
here,
second one down. Yeah, there you go. So if you click the little arrow where it says configure part studio and then that little triangle, you can see we have 3 different kinds of configurations. So we have a list, which is like small, medium, large, or we have a checkbox, which is like on, off, just like 2 options, Boolean, binary. And we have a configuration variable, which is like type in whatever value you want. So for us, we want a list because there's 5 marble sizes or something.
Yeah.
So then you would just type in a new row for each of those. Rename the default to something. So whatever your...
something is my joke here.
Yeah, excellent.
What's then? Oh, this is the...
Call it the name of the marble. Yeah, large. Okay. Yeah, or if you... Yeah,
I would do
good.
25, probably.
Yeah, sure. Do that.
I'm going to call them by the diameters.
That works.
So this
add
is
the rest
25.
of them.
No,
whatever.
this is a new one. It's just a new one.
That's a new one.
2. Oh yeah, okay. 18, 14, and 12. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, and then I guess just for my own sense of organization, where it says configuration default 25 up at the top, you can click the word configuration and rename that to marble size.
Nice.
And so now
the
over on the left,
navigability of the document.
Exactly. Yeah, and some of that stuff, I just get in the habit and just do it all the time, even on ones where you don't need it. It's easier than trying to turn it on and off sometimes. So now if you look above your feature list, you can see you have configurations, and it says marble size 25, all the way to the left.
Out here. Okay, yeah.
So you can expand that list, and those are all the options you just added.
That's fantastic.
And yeah, so for now, they're not wired up to anything, but all we have to do to get it wired up is configure that marble size variable. So there's a few ways to do that. One is to click over on the configuration panel where it says configure features, big plus button, and that puts you into a mode now where you're kind of editing stuff. So go then click marble size, the feature.
Okay, because you can select sketches or features to configure, but we want this variable So I'm going to click that.
Click that, and then click where it says value, 25 millimeters. So now that has a little yellow dotted outline that's letting us know that it is configured. And you can see it added it to our list on the right side. And they're all still 25, so you can just change those to be 22, 18, 14, and so on.
These are just, these are values. Those are not.
That's the value of it, yeah. Cool. So now if you change to a different marble size from your drop down, you'll see the sketch
thing that will change is the little sketch. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And these, okay. Yeah, because, for example, with the Gridfinity system, if you're aware of that sorting system.
Yeah. I'm actually in the middle of overdoing my kitchen drawers with it right now.
Okay. Yeah. It's I'm both impressed. It's a big trap as well, that system. It has such an allure, and then but used correctly, I think it can save you time and money. Used incorrectly, it can waste a whole autumn and all your money.
Sounds like a personal experience. Yeah.
I'm talking from experience, yeah. So Ludwig showed me configurations. He okay, what kind of grid do you want? Is it a 1x1 or is it a 1x2? And then that's in configuration. So one question I have is this configuration for this part studio, or can I reference these configurations in another part studio?
You can essentially, each tab has its own configuration panel, but if you're bringing in to an assembly, for example, at the assembly level, you could set up the same table, 25, 22, 18, and so on, and then configure which version of this you're bringing in so they all match.
Okay, but most often, let's do this exercise. I'm going to name this part studio 22 marble dropper, but now I want to create... and I guess in the real world, we go into this sketch and we would actually set up, this is actually not just 120, it's 120 plus some math with the marble size. So here I would add, I want this length to change because of the marble size change, because we need a much... So how do I add that to this?
So you could configure that dimension and just add it to the list and type in whatever values you want, or if you wanted it to be related to the marble diameter, the marble size, you have the variable. You could do that as part of an equation. So it kind of depends on how you want to control it.
But now I have marble size.
Yeah.
And now that's 22 in this tab. So let me just do something silly there. I had to add millimeters, I think.
Over on the 120, it needs it.
Oh, not there.
Marble size already has units, and so then there, and then you got to get rid of it on the right side.
Okay. It's always a units missing. No, it's not with me.
Let's lose the parentheses. See what happens.
Yeah, because I thought I was going to do some kind of equation there. Okay, it's... it's not happy. Maybe it's here. Sorry, everyone.
Type 120 millimeters plus marble size. Should do it. Then you can just click it, hit enter.
No. Yes. It was just, it got stuck on red. Okay, It worked. Okay, maybe this is not a useful example, but I kind of feel that... So now, if I switch in this part studio, that's also switching. The marble size is switching, and the length of the pivot is switching. Okay.
But for example, that dimension that says 100, you can right-click that, and you can configure it.
Configure dimension.
Yep, great. So now that's added to your list over on the right. But you can also just change it by changing the dimension. So if we're looking at 25 and it should be 100, you can switch to where we're looking at 22.
Okay, so I tie because for example, this is brilliant, because I know for the 3 biggest ones, I'm actually happy with 100, but for the 2 smallest one, I want only 60.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I actually only want to do 2 different designs of marble droppers. So then I don't want to do that silly math that I did.
Sure, you can change that.
And this distance, I'm going to name this.
I wish. Yeah, no, it's you can name sketch 2 I don't think you can rename distance to.
Maybe I have to go out of the sketch to do that.
No, I don't think you can.
Okay, so now that if I go down to 12, that sketch will follow. We're gonna have 6. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So also, if you're in 12 right now, double click where it says 60 and change it to 55, just so you can see what happens. It wants you. Okay, for most things you can edit in that way, but I guess these you have to actually edit from the table.
Okay. Tolerance options. Wow. You can. Oh my god. There's stuff here.
That gets into like all of your GD and T and model based definition, and it goes really deep.
Okay. Wow. Now it has another color here and then under.
Yeah. Click that tolerance options button again.
Okay. That's why. That's brilliant. So then I can tie a lot of options. And then, if I understand it correctly, Evan, then I would duplicate when I'm done with the master. Are we then duplicating the part studio?
No, we have them all here. So let's just make a configured marble only.
So you want me to like revolve the marble around itself? So let's just add a midline.
Yeah.
Maybe you would use a sphere or something. I don't know how to do that.
This is probably the right way using native features. I have a custom feature I made that just makes a sphere, which is kind of nice for quick stuff like that. But yeah, this is right. You're just revolving it.
Okay. So why didn't I get Shift W from my body memory here? It was some time ago. Okay, we have a marble.
Great. So now let's make an assembly and we can just put it in there.
A new tab.
Yeah, a new assembly tab, just empty, and we'll just drop the marble in there, and then I'll show you how you can get all of the different sizes here.
Droppers, assemblies. Oh, I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna insert the part studio. Mm-hmm. And now I put, I guess it's this one. Do we insert entire part studio as a rigid or not?
In this case, it doesn't really matter. So if you expand on the left, there's a little caret, and you can see there's our part. And you can also see the drop down. It says 25. That's our marble size. So click part 1. That's our marble. And you can drop it in. If you want to, the insert everything as rigid is nice if you have modeled a bunch of different parts and they're all in the same place and they don't move relative to each other. You just insert the whole thing. You don't have to connect them.
Okay, so
great. So there's our 25 millimeter one. And if you want, you can right click the part and say change configuration.
There.
Yeah, there you go. So now you can pick a different size if you want.
In the assembly. Wow.
Yeah. So you could click that part, Control C, Control V a few times, and make a bunch of copies and set them to different configurations at the same time.
Oh, wow. Is that how it's done then? So then you would make a sub-assembly with a few of the droppers, and this one, this is actually a bigger one. So we're gonna go for 25 here. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then what we can do is if the dropper is going to have some parts that have motion that you want to capture, or parts from screws or things from somewhere else that you don't want to model in the same place, you can make an assembly, and then you can configure this assembly with the same list values, and then you can change which marble is being brought in. I know it's like
my brain got stuck there.
Maybe I should just do a stupid demo of something else and just kind of show.
Okay,
would that be helpful?
Yes, this was amazing. We have to check in with Hannes on time, and if there's any questions from chat as well. What do you say, Hannes?
We have 25 more minutes, and I have some questions already queued up now, so we should get to some questions also.
Cool. Works for me.
We're at the blood hour now. Martin's brain is starting to shut down. The final hour of the workday.
So, but was really cool, Evan. I had no clue. You open a lot of doors here, and there's like I don't get anything, but I get like a feeling for how much is possible. But then I don't know exactly. But I have a lot of repeated stuff on this machine, and then I guess configurations can do a lot of lifting.
Yeah, it can. I think configurations for the droppers sounds right to me, because there's like 5 or so distinct sizes, like not that many. But for something like what we were looking at with the vibraphone arms, where you have like 100 and they're each slightly different, I probably wouldn't use configurations. I would use a pattern like we did, because they're each unique and you want them all parametrically updating and that kind of thing.
Makes sense. Okay, so configurations seems to be extremely powerful. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Questions? Should we go into Q&A then, Hannes, or should we just peek if there's something you feel on our topic list that you just want mentioned, Evan, before we release the topic list? Features.
I'm good with it. I think we've covered a lot, and we're not going to be able to get to everything. There's so much. Like I said, the ceiling is very high in Onshape, so I could talk about it forever. I think we're good.
Okay, cool.
Seems like there's a part 2 coming sometime.
I'm down if you're down.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you here. So, all right. Well, tell us, Hannes.
Yeah, let's start with the first one here. It's from my Memeplex that is wondering, for reference, how long did it take for that medication cabinet to get built?
Oh boy. I actually exited the agency before it was completely done, but and I'm trying to think of like how to answer the question exactly. Like, how long did it take to do the model, or how long did it take to go from like no idea to finished thing shipped?
I think people are kind of like, how long would it take for the marble machine to get done?
Okay.
If that level of complexity took that long.
I think you're right, Hannes, with your interpretation.
Yeah. I see. Well, I would say it was over a year from like kickoff to parts sampled and that kind of thing. That was, we also like sourced that and had it made in Asia, and so there's a lot of the time that goes to those logistics, which is a little different than building one of a thing in your own workshop. But a year, maybe a year and a half. I'm trying to remember. Like I said, I also exited the agency partway through that one.
Yeah, the clarification on the question is they wanted to know from idea to shipped, the entire process.
I could be wrong, but for a sense of vibes, let's say a year and a half.
Year and a half.
On a team with how many people?
There were at least 4 engineers contributing on the CAD, and then there was also electronics and user research and sourcing and firmware and software and like all that stuff too.
Oh, that's interesting.
Perfect. Okay, so let's head over to Marcin with a super chat and a question. How to configure the CNC so we can do design plus manufacture code in Onshape without Fusion 360?
Onshape does have a CNC studio. If you go down to the plus icon, like you were going to add, so you get
Cam Studio.
Yeah, Cam Studio. So that's where you can do it and set it up. And in full disclosure, I've never used it. I haven't programmed CNC stuff, so I'm not the best to tell you all the ins and outs. But it is here, and it has already built in a lot of the most common CNC machines that you would use, and I think you can add your own by like importing the right metadata for them. So it is here. You can do your tool paths. I don't know. I haven't talked to somebody who's like done this their whole career and asked their opinion. I'm not sure.
The only thing I know from it is that Ludwig, who was kind of new on working with the kind of CNC machine we have, started using this and went over to Fusion for some reason. But this would, of course, be a great idea for me to actually go into and investigate if because it would be more native to the project, of course.
Yeah,
and is a lot of yours is like just 2.5D like sheet kind of stuff, or is a lot of it? Yeah, seems like it should handle that from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. We have from All In Browser that is wondering, how do you want to structure the global collaboration with Onshape so you can benefit the most from detailed designing blob design space with good fixed requirements?
I love that question. I'm gonna, like, if I may, for the questionnaire, perhaps you got something else out of that question, Evan, but it feels like, first maybe you can try to answer it the way it's written, but then it's also like, I want to hear if you have an advice for me as the project manager of this crazy project, that when I'm inviting people to collaborate, if you have any advice on some pitfalls or some traps that I can avoid. But perhaps you can read the question again, Hannes, so Evan has it primed.
How do you want to structure the global collaboration with Onshape so you can benefit the most from detailed designing blob design space with good fixed requirements?
I think that is a massive topic, and I don't have a super clean answer yet. I also am not totally sure I would need to know in a lot of detail what the goal, like the hopes and dreams are for the collaboration, what you do and don't want out of it, Martin. And there are a lot of approaches, but there's not like a single right answer. So I think I would need more context.
And I would say that's a great answer. And I think going back to your slide with what kind of level of rigor we can apply the same framework to this. What we're doing on Thursday, we're firmly in the explore category. I'm going to say to everyone, I have two ideas of the programming wheel. We can make it like this with sheet metal, or we can make it with my grid structure. The other idea, here are the requirements or more guidelines. Give me feedback through Onshape in your own design files. Here you can copy my part and show me your ideas. It's an early exploration of collaborating, and how we're doing it on Thursday is not at all like defining on how we're doing it this autumn, for example. So perhaps it's just like start, explore. I haven't thought through the problem definition yet completely. Like, what do I actually want out of it? Yeah, I want help. Help with what? Like, there's a lot of questions that I need answer, and I think we're just starting exploring. But we have experience with working with 200 volunteers on the Machine X project, and that actually panned out to be extremely complicated and kind of frustrating for all sides. A lot of people did a lot of work without feeling perhaps that the work got through to the end and like that. So I learned a lot I have a lot of respect for how complex these things are. So yeah, good reminder that perhaps I need to communicate, Hannes and Evan, like the way we're doing it the first time is just an exploration, and then we're going to learn and do better with higher levels of rigor next time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I guess going back to the concept of every model, if you're clicking your mouse and spinning a model around, that model has a job to do in the world. And it sounds like the job of these models is to get design clarity, choose a path, like to visualize and communicate to others design ideas that we may or may not rally behind and put the full weight of development behind. So right now, the job is not make the production parts. The job is get ideas out just well enough that Martin and other contributors can understand the concept and have a productive discussion about it. So if that's the case, I think I like what you're saying, Martin, about having people just duplicate stuff, model it in their own Onshape space, and then it's easy for them to then share those ideas back. But the job that those models have to do is just to communicate well enough to everybody so they can talk about whether or not it's the direction they want to invest more time in.
Perfect. And because tonight, when my daughter is asleep, I have some homework for the evening to write the documentation for this project. And this whole question gets me into like, that documentation should completely start with, before anything else, like, what do we want out of this collab. So like the highest level, like what is the end result, so people don't get bogged down in details that I'm not asking for. So like so homework for me is Martin problem definition. As always, it always comes down to problem definition. So thanks for reminding me about that with that question. Okay, Hannes.
Chat is hungry for more. I see several people. They want to see feature script. All in browser says Evan should maybe show his feature script example now for the crowd. 5 minutes would be cool. They want more.
Is that did you just want to show like a special feature script, or the ability of Onshape to use feature scripts?
Yeah, I didn't have anything in particular. I have a lot of custom features that I've made. So, one thing we could do is just like show a few of them and say like, this is possible, that's possible, these other things are possible. We could do that. But I think, I'm interested in exploring at some point, and I think we don't have time for it now, areas of your model that has some like kind of unique problem that you're solving and that could be automated with feature script. Yeah. For example, the vibraphone, like that was something you and I had been communicating about, and I had a train ride where I was like trying to get more up to speed with how to write feature script with some of the LLMs. And so I had been trying to vibe code a vibraphone custom feature that just produces the correct size vibraphone with the correct tapers and the tube lengths and everything. And
I think I do got it in here.
Let's you have it? Okay, cool.
I think I saw it when we were talking earlier, but since my project isn't so navigable, it takes a little time for me to find it here. But I did wait. I think it's here. Then isn't this your or is this from Derek?
I think that's from Derek.
Okay.
I don't think that's me.
So that's because yeah.
Well, let me see. While you're looking at that, I'll just pull up that example if I can, and we can just look at it. It's not going to be in any way comprehensive review of feature script, but we can at least just like show some of what's possible.
And the cool thing when you say vibe code is that also like I like to try things myself to understand better, and I guess that would also mean that I could actually start doing my own feature script just by vibe coding them myself as well.
Yeah, it's getting more and more possible for sure.
Yeah.
There we go. There we have Derek's screen. No,
yeah,
Evan's screen. Yeah. I'm getting tired too.
I'm flattered. So here's the custom feature that I kind of put together on a train that produces a vibraphone. You tell it what scale you want. So we're going to be an F harmonic minor just because on this one you could do yours chromatic as probably what you want. That's what it is, right?
Chromatic,
and you said it's
nice. Chromatic.
How many notes?
At 37.
37. What's your root note?
F.
Okay, F.
F1 if you have an octave number on that.
We'll see if that's right. It might be wrong. Wow. Well, I might have the octaves off, but
can you do closed resonators because those looked open?
Oh, it's closed on the bottom and open on the top.
It is closed, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why did it turn so long all of a sudden and then went back.
Because I typed in a 1 here for the octave, but I haven't like validated all of the equations here, but you do get this nice like, this kind of a curve coming out that there would be a real pain to do with a configuration, for example, because you'd have to place each one, right click, change the configuration, place the next one, right click, change the configuration. So it could be done, but it gets kind of cumbersome. Let's see, bar root note length. We could say we can change the length of these and dial it in. You'd probably do this empirically somehow, like measure a real one and just put in those numbers. But anyway, I think something like this looked more realistic to me. Yep. But you can play with it. What else? Change the speed of sound. If you want to make a vibraphone for Mars, you could do that.
It's a great example of what's possible. Sky's the limit, I guess, with
exactly
feature scripts.
Yeah, so rather than having to model each of these, they're all slightly different, you can program it in, and then you give yourself a ton of flexibility, make a custom tool that is like you're building your own CAD system on top of the CAD system, kind of.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of of your clients, the teams that you're coaching, actually work that way? It's to make their own custom features and then create parts that goes into production?
I think the first step to using custom features is just using the ones that are out in the community. There's so many. These are all publicly available features that people have written and published. And so there's a ton of power that you can get from Onshape just here.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to search from within Onshape. How do you search and find and add feature scripts when you're looking for something?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's almost essentially word of mouth on the user forum right now. Like I have a list on my website of most of the ones that I've done, but even that I haven't kept up with as much as I should.
Do you have luck with the AI, the LLMs? Do they find them when you talk to the LLMs?
Yeah, you can. So actually, that's probably the most effective way to search for what you're looking for. Even though you're really just searching the forums, you could go ask Gemini or GPT or whoever, say like, look in the Onshape user forums and see if anyone's made a custom feature that does something like this, and it'll probably be better than you going to the forum and trying to find it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
All right. Yeah. So that's that one, but I think we don't have time to really dig in on it. It's I got another 8 minutes or so.
Yeah. Same here. No, I think we should start to wrap it up if there was no more questions, Hannes.
No, really excellent questions right now. Chat are really happy though. They really appreciate these kinds of streams. They learned a lot. So yeah, this is a good point to wrap it up.
Yeah, I feel I need to rewatch it 2 or 3 times, and because there's a lot of.
I saw your eyes got very big a couple of times. Like, now he's really listening.
Yeah, it's also fun because I'm in the process of writing down my dreaded design requirements, but it feels like I'm. Like what you have talked about to us today, Evan, is like the step after that, really, when I know what to build, like how to build it. And I'm looking so much forward to get to that part of the project. So, yeah, it's a lot of inspiration for me to actually make decisions with my design requirements so I can actually get to the nitty-gritty of the CAD. Yeah,
absolutely. That's a good way to think of rigor, too. Like the level of rigor should match your level of clarity.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to end it. Oh, I have to ask you then, do you think I will be able to get to World Tour premiere with a Marble Machine? And if you can give me like just one piece of advice on what I should change in my way of working to get there.
Oh, man.
you got 30 seconds.
Tell me this question ahead of time, Martin. I feel like this needs some thought, but since we don't have time for thought, I think I guess I would just reiterate the rigor stuff. Like, know what your model is doing and what it is not for, and then just let it only do that job, and don't worry about it trying to be everything all the time. So if your model is answering a question that you have, get the question answered fast and then move on. Make a new model. And if the model is producing production level outputs and confirming that everything fits and doesn't interfere and has a nice bill of materials and needs to be updatable later, then you need to spend a lot of time on that model.
That's brilliant. It translates perfectly into everything I do, to prototype making. The chat has been pestering me about knowing what questions the prototype should answer before I start to build it. Mm-hmm. Because of the exact same issue with the level of rigor. Because it's fun to build, so you overbuild it or you underbuild it, and then you lose a lot of time. Same with like when I was new to design requirements, what job should the design requirements do for me at this time? Mm-hmm. Which wasn't like to get the whole team at Boeing to work together on an airplane with 500 people's lives in.
Yeah.
in the beginning, it was for me to get my ideas out on paper. So it actually didn't matter at all how I wrote down the requirements, like on the explore level. And then now, like when the homework I'm doing today is like, I want to ask for concepts on Thursday, and I want to give them some design requirements. But I'm going to rephrase it to say it's design guidelines. I'm going to say it should use as little material as possible. I should just phrase it like that. And then people are like, oh, but that's not an exact design requirement. It should be quantifiable and verifiable. And yes, later.
Yeah.
So that lesson from you there, Evan, is fantastic. It goes with everything. It goes with when we're editing the videos as well. Like how much hours do we need to put into the transitions between scenes compared to how much hours should we put into making progress on the machine and show that.
It is a philosophy for life. Yeah.
No, it's really.
It's good.
I appreciate. So will I make it to the world tour? You dodged that part of the question.
No, you didn't ask if you were going to. Of course you're going to. I'll be there. Yeah.
Thank you. That was what I want to hear. I was leading the witness, but yeah, I can't thank you enough. Evan Reese from theonsherpa.com, who works full-time with guiding teams that work with Onshape on how to work more efficiently. You have been a fantastic help for the Marching project. I can't thank you enough for your time. Thank you so much, Evan.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast and an honor.
Yeah, thank you guys both, and let's celebrate by watching Martin victoriously run up the stairs. Let's go. Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, thank you, Hannes. The honor is on our side, Evan.
Right.
Have a great rest of the day. You get a really long day today since you were up so early.
Yeah, I know. More day.
More day. All right. Yeah. Catch you all soon.
All right. Bye.
See you. We're probably still live, by the way, Evan.
No profanities.
No profanities yet. until
I get the clear. You get the clear from me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lot of button presses.